All right, we are live. Thank you guys for coming to LO League Day 1. I am 206 Bones and I am here with my friend Bugs.
Hello, my name is Bugs Bite. Welcome everybody to Loadout League. I'm really excited for today's matches, and I'm also really excited to see AT and Sky. Correct?
Yep, AT and Sky. Yeah, these are two teams that I'm actually pretty familiar with. I've had the privilege of commentating for them for a few times in other tournaments. So this is very exciting for me. And I'm also very excited to see so many familiar faces in the chat. Hello, Mixie. Hello, Joey. Hello, Juliet. Um, and hello, Mian, as well. We are seeing a couple of our other commentators in the chat here with Mian as well as with Mima. Those will be coming later on in the week. And yeah, today, let's see. Yeah, today we've got Sky versus Activators. Both of these are, yeah, pretty well established teams. It's always nice to see teams that kind of like stay pretty consistent and with a lot of familiar
Mm.
faces on them. Definitely excited to see what's coming out of the Hunter faction for both of these teams. Yeah, just a lot of great plays here today, and I'm also very excited personally to see the impending gamekeeper. I
Oh
think is
yes,
what I'm most excited to see today.
you're dressed as him, aren't you?
I am. My very good friend decided to help me out a little bit and get me an actual PNG. So yeah, and
Yippee!
you as well. You as well are also dressed for the occasion.
Oh yes, I am very excited to see the impending patient play, even though it may not come.
I would
Who
say we
knows?
can definitely expect a patient here today. At least one.
At least one. You promise?
I promise. We've got I would say I mean like patient is just in general a pretty common at least, pretty common first round pick. Generally, you'll see a patient in place of a mercenary or alongside a mercenary, depending
Mhm.
on versus opera singer. We've also seen a pretty fair amount of patient versus gamekeeper as well. And just in general, I mean, any survivor that can break a lot of distance very fast, we can
Mhm.
definitely expect to see today. Aeroplanist as well, coming onto the
Yes.
scene. So yeah, a lot of great stuff in store.
Hmm. Seems that we're still filtering in. Once again, for everybody that's just joining, I would like to welcome you, and I hope that we're all excited, that we're all, excited from Koa, excited for the tournament. I hope everybody's doing well today, and I hope that, uh, yeah, I hope that everybody's really hyped up for today's matches because I know I am.
Yeah, looking in the chat here, I'm seeing a lot of or a bit of love here for the puppeteer. I honestly, I forgot that puppeteer is going to be available. I've been watching so much Koa lately,
Yes.
that yeah, but very excited to see if we end up seeing a puppeteer on the stage, especially against an opera singer. That could be hugely game changing for these survivor teams having a survivor that can take just that many hits in a row. So yeah, hoping that we get to see the puppeteer on a competitive stage because that's actually something that we haven't seen before. At least I haven't seen before
I
since
have
he's
not
not
seen
available in
him.
Koha yet.
I've not seen him played professionally yet either, so that will be very exciting to know that he's available. Uh, to answer the question though, I do believe that the only character that currently is unplayable in this tournament is going to be the new character, the Shadow or Ivy, which is
Yes.
very unfortunate. But people still have not gotten acclimated to her yet. Can't put her in the tank yet.
Yeah, especially with her last recent nerf, I feel like she's very unstable right now, I would say.
Hmm.
Since she's going under adjustments pretty much every week.
Yes.
It feels a little bit like what happened with Opera Singer at first, but much faster with
Yes.
these nerfs coming out.
It definitely feels like that they're like actively monitoring the way that she's being played, the way that she's being utilized, how the players in the servers, go against her, how they fight against her, and it's very interesting to see just how often they're making the changes because I personally haven't seen a character being like changed so drastically since Offer Season.
Right? Yeah, it feels like a lot of the time, we see these strong hunters that get released and then, just little by little they get chipped off. But I'm
Mm,
excited because I feel like the shadow is still very, very effective. I'm really excited to see once she kind of gets, to a point where she's stable enough to be allowed in tournament. Probably I would say next season, we'll
mm,
start seeing a lot more of her pop up in like indie tournaments and the such. But I'm very excited to see kind of how she compares in tournament to something like a Dream Witch because she
yes.
has that map control. She has like kind of the mediocre first chase that leads into just being everywhere in the end game.
Hmm.
And I'm very excited to see how that'll kind of translate into a tournament setting, especially since Dream Witch has kind of, she's still up there, but
She's tapered off
it,
since. Yeah.
yeah, she's tapered off, and mostly she's only played by people who very much, um, kind of dedicatedly main her. So it's interesting to see, how a hunter like the Shadow, who kind of requires that same sort of finesse, is like entering new onto the
Mm.
scene.
Another familiar face that I'm looking forward to seeing next season is, of course, our fire investigator, Florian. I am so
That's
looking forward to
true.
seeing him.
Yeah,
Looking
I mean
forward
that
to
is
that.
it's gonna be crazy. I feel like just from a gameplay standpoint, he's like I'm excited to see him in tournament. I'm not excited to see him in my own rank matches because
Yeah,
I have a feeling
he is
like
not welcome in my rank matches. However, to see him played in other tournaments, as long as it's other people that are a good arm's length away from me, then I'm welcome to see it. However, I am going to be playing him as soon as I possibly can. Will I be using his ability? No. But
but you
I
want to
will
look at
be
him.
I will be wearing his outfit.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of controversy around the S tier. But I feel like you know what I'm actually excited for more than the S tier? I'm excited for Clerk getting a skin
Oh
because
yes,
that skin is gorgeous.
it's lovely. It really is. Personally, I am looking very much forward to the coordinator skin, and I was looking forward to the Matthias skin. However, Clerk came in with the studio chair and knocked him out. So um, we will no longer be seeing him.
Were there rumors that he was going to get a skin?
It was. I think it was mostly just because he was due for his skin.
Oh.
It wasn't
That
that
would
there
be
was
kind
a
of
rumor.
soon.
It was quite soon, but a lot of
Yeah.
people were counting on it considering they seem to have like some kind of ties together, being that they're like a fire survivor and a fire investigator. So,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I have been so like booked and busy watching Koa that I haven't been keeping up with like the new releases until they're added into the game.
oh yes,
Because
exactly.
this Koa season, I don't know how many people are keeping up with it, but it's been upset after upset after upset. The meta is changing so ridiculously fast that like we're watching right now. Right now in the leaderboards, before you is ranked very slightly, but still above Wolves. Now Wolves is obviously the Chinese team that is constantly in the top. One IVL this year, one Koa a couple years ago. Like extraordinarily formidable team, but because of how fast the meta is changing, we're seeing hunters have to rearrange their entire lineups in almost no time at all. And
Mm.
it's really just coming down to who can adjust fast enough. So it's fascinating to see how things are changing, how the game is being adjusted lately. And yeah, I'm very excited to see kind of how adding Puppeteer to the mix, adding the Shadow, adding Fire Investigator is his
Fire
title?
investigator.
Yeah.
Very very long title. Very very meaningless.
This
Just
is
call him
why I only know
Florian.
him as Florian right now because
Call him Flo. We're friends.
Yeah.
You know him like that. We're like this.
Yeah, he's I wouldn't call him my friend just yet. I'm not too familiar with his game, but Florian.
Matthias, however, he's like a long lost son to me. He really is just he's wonderful in every aspect. Lewis, however, not too crazy about.
I like that ugly ass little puppet boy. I really do. He see my thing with Puppeteer is that I am a hermit main some of the time, part time. This is gonna be new. If you guys have seen me before, you're gonna be like, "Why is Bones not talking about Lizard?" I have moved on with my life, and I have a new friend. In a slightly meta hunter. Now, this means that I just do not chase the puppeteer and I let him rack up damage, and then I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But
All you gotta do
yeah,
to counter him is just not hit him for a couple of like
he's
60
he's a
seconds,
little bit. I think it's 25 seconds if I'm remembering.
something like that.
But honestly, like with that, I'm very excited to see if we're going to come up with or not come up with, but see a puppeteer because he's a little bit like Professor in that sense,
Yes,
where
he
you
is.
you know, you can wait it out, but yeah, it's I'm interested to see if we're going to see Puppeteer and how he's going to be utilized. But with that, yeah, it looks like we are going to get into the band picks in just a moment here. Once again, we are watching Activators versus Sky, two very, very exciting teams. Um, should find out in just a moment who is surviving and who is hunting first. But with that, yeah, getting right into things.
It appears we're going to be playing on Lakeside as well.
Yes, we've got Lakeside Village as our first map. An interesting first pick for a map, I would say, but I feel like here's the thing. I would not expect at least one half of this. I would say we could be looking at a non-opera singer round one
Hmm.
because Sky in particular has at least two Mad Eyes players. And that is definitely a hunter that you want to get out. Okay, yeah, AT is going to be surviving first. So
Surviving
we
first.
could see. I'm not going to speak too soon, but we could see that Mad Eyes coming out sooner or later.
Yes. The Mad Eyes pick. The fabled Mad Eyes pick. There's actually quite a bit of a. Oh! Seems that we might get a gamekeeper even. I'm looking at your little sheet that we have
Yes,
here.
I have my notes in order. Yeah, I would say Gamekeeper, we could probably expect more around round two, round
Mm-hmm.
three.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, this is a best of three here for our first round, first match. So best two out of three, winner takes all. And yeah, I would definitely expect Gamekeeper a little bit more around the later rounds just
Mm-hmm.
because you're not necessarily going to ban him first. But we
Mm-hmm.
have seen activators play Gamekeeper in round one. Obviously, this could have changed with the meta. I would definitely expect that to have changed with the meta as well. But I wouldn't, anything can happen here. These are two teams with very, very deep hunter pools and multiple hunters on both teams. So once we find out who is hunting first on each team, I would say we're going to have a little bit more of an idea. But just in general, I mean, these teams are their hunters are absolutely incredible. So it's really up to the survivors here to kind of make a statement in the first round.
Piggybacking off of what you had said about potentially. Oh, it seems we got our first ban coming in.
Yeah, we should be having those up in just a moment here as the teams get into their band picks.
But just to quickly finish my thought, piggybacking on off what you said about not playing gamekeeper in first round. From my standpoint personally, I would think, to pick a character that would get banned in the second round to you know, in the first round, just so you can get that out of the way, just to see get a feel for how you're going to play. We have
Yeah.
our first band picks coming in: Priestess and Antiquarian. Very understandable.
Yeah, and definitely a pretty neutral first two picks here. I mean, Priestess, you do want to get out of the way on Lakeside Village.
That's a big map
The
too.
map control that she allows the survivors here is something that you definitely want to kind of put a pin in as a hunter. And Antiquarian
Mhm.
as well. I mean, in general, you
Please,
just kind of
Crystal.
want to get Antiquarian out of the way. That's a pretty, and the advantage of this as well is that there's no hints here on who this hunter is going to be. There's no specific bans.
Right.
Anybody is on the table without a hunter ban as well. I mean, these survivors really are not being given any hints as to what they're going to be facing.
Exactly.
All right, we should be getting our first two survivor picks here in a moment. Just to clarify as well for our audience, first two survivor picks of every round will be permanently banned for the remainder of the rounds. You see those nice little six
Hmm.
squares in the center there, right above the map selection. That's where our global bans are going to go. So as we go through these rounds, best of two, best of three rounds, we will be seeing that kind of pile up here. So it's something for these teams to keep in mind as they go for their first two picks. It looks like we're going to lock in the Perfumer as well as the Seer here. So a little bit risky almost to lock out that Seer first, but very bold here from I lost my chat. Oh yeah, very bold here from activators to lock out that seer right away. But it does mean, it means that they have a backup plan and that they're confident on bringing the seer out first. Perfumer, a very good first round pick. Very kind of versatile, but also set in place to go against the opera singer. She can take a lot of hits, and especially with her recent rework, she's been much more effective than she used to be. The time that it takes to teleport back on the perfume, it's been cut in half. So I'm very excited to see kind of perfumer re-entering the meta. I know that yeah, checking the chat here. I was gonna say Mian is gonna be excited about that, and I was right. So yeah, a lot of perfumer love here. So I would say a fan favorite pick for sure.
We're also seeing our next band, which is going to be the Gravekeeper, and our next pick as well, which is going to be the Journalist. Looking
Oh
very,
wow.
very stacked.
Journalist here is not a pick that you see very often. I'm surprised to see her on Lakeside. She's generally a pick that you see more on a map like Red Church with a lot
Mhm.
of pallets, a lot of kind of areas to get the baby um off. But again, we're looking at this team of just very, very tanky survivors.
Yeah,
So
and you can see that we're gonna have the Seer that takes 3 hits to down, the Fumer that could take upwards of 5 hits to down, and Journalist, if she plays her cards right, she could also take a good amount of hits to down. This is a really, really beefy team.
yeah, and locking in our last pick here, a little bit of Ashes of Memory love with that Novelist. We have seen Novelist almost get banned more than he's picked in this current competitive season. He has just been so effective lately with the switch trait being reworked the way it has been. It kind of acts like an owl. It acts like kind of this 1 second stun
Mhm.
that also gives him a speed boost. It can cancel Hunter animations. He is a very, very valuable pick here, as well as the fact that he's going to be recyclable. I mean, once again, Perfumer and Seer, we're not going to be able to see them again from activators. And having that novelist recyclable, I would say, is likely going to stand in here for kind of that Seer Perfumer capability. He's
Mhm.
just such a versatile character and just a really, really valuable pick.
We also have our last band coming in at with, unfortunately, my beloved wife Ada. We're going to have Seer go. Parting is such sweet,
Yeah.
as they say.
And yeah, Hunter for Sky is going to be BT. So, as I was saying about that deep Hunter pool, I would say we could expect a Gamekeeper here in the first round because it is BT.
Mhm.
but it's very, anything can happen here in this round one, and I am a big fan of when hunters kind of take a risk in the first round, pick something that, you know, is going to, could be banned in later rounds. But yeah, I'm very excited to kind of see how this goes. And yes, it looks like we
Mm.
are going to have that gamekeeper coming through. Very
Yay!
happy about this information. I never get tired of seeing Gamekeeper. He is just such a strong hunter and really just kind of a breakout star of this current meta with the hook being able to stand in almost for the sort of infinite opera singer dash as soon as you reach max presence with Gamekeeper. He can just hook all the way around the map and just such a versatile hunter as well. I am very excited to see this.
Definitely going to stand a chance as well against, Eli Clark, the novelist, perfumer. Definitely brings to the table a very formidable champion uh, that can stand against this team. Though he has been in my personal rank matches, has not been seen very often. Seeing him in professional like settings, he is amazing. Just absolutely wonderful of a hunter. I'm very excited for this matchup.
Me too. And I'm looking at the chat saying Bane is so cute. Bane is so cute. I mean,
His emote is
my PNG
absolutely
is not
adorable.
showing right now, but I am dressed as Molten Hound, quote unquote. So yeah, I am big Bane love here today. But yeah, looking at the Persona webs that Activator survivors have locked in here, we're going to have Perfumer carrying 3-6 as well as Journalist. So we've got Ty Turner carried on both the Perfumer and the Journalist here. All survivors have borrowed time. Seer and Novelist will be carrying Flywheels. So this team has definitely expected a Gamekeeper here. Flywheel can be used very effectively against a Gamekeeper. It can actually cancel his traps, which is huge. And it if a flywheel is timed right, it can be absolutely game changing against a gamekeeper. Gamekeepers can really depend on those traps in order to make a statement. And having them just be kind of knocked out of commission immediately by a skill. Now, that does mean that activator survivors are going to need to be on top of when they use their flywheel. Are we
Mhm.
going to use it to dodge a hook? Are we going to use it to break the trap? Are we just going to use it to dodge a hit after being hooked? It's very kind of it's a close thing to really work with that flywheel. Um, but being on the novelist, being on the seer, this is a very strong team. It's just a matter of whether or not they can stand against the might of the gamekeeper.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like we are on our way to getting things started now. Once again, we are in round one, first half here. Activator surviving. Sky is hunting here. Just very excited. I'm very excited to see sort of if they're able to stand up because Gamekeeper is very first chase dependent. And looking at these survivors here, we have honestly, I would say best first chase here would be maybe Perfumer's gonna waste time. The issue with Perfumer here, I think, is that once you take two hits, Gamekeeper has presence, and then you have to balance the perfume between do I take the chip damage that comes with Gamekeeper's hook the moment that that he reaches first presence, or do we wait for the basic hit, take the chip damage, you know, it gets a little bit more complicated to chase a gamekeeper as soon as you feed him presence. This is where Perfumer is going to struggle a little bit.
Mhm.
Journalist is going to be very strong against this, though, if she's able to time the orphans well. They don't give presence. So if Journalist is able to kind of engineer her way into taking this first kite, that could be very effective. Um, Novelist as well isn't going to feed presence. Seer feeds presence, but with kind of the rechargeable capabilities of Seer, I would say it's less of a risk as well as with the teammate support. But heading right into things, we are going to see Molten Hound, very beautiful here. And yeah, heading right into things.
Molten Hound. Now everybody can see your wonderful little PNG.
Yes, that is my wonderful little PNG. I am very very grateful to have it.
Hmm. I do really. I'm very curious about what kind of spawn layout they're going to take because if yes, area selection mode is enabled in this tournament. Uh, see, we're going to have the novelist spawning at the shack. We're going to have the journalist spawning near the middle, and having the novelist at the shack is definitely very strong. We're going to have the seer at the big boat and perfumer in the dead center, while the bane takes more of a backwards approach, not
Yeah,
spawning
this is
directly where they are, probably to ensure that the cipher in the boat or near the shore area gets locked off, just to slow the progress just a little bit more.
yeah. It looks like we are going to be entering a pause though in this match. Just to work out, looks like we might have some team issues. So yeah, this match will be ending as soon as it started. Yeah, it looks like we do have some persona issues to work out here.
Mm,
So things happen. Just a
it
little bit of
happens.
tournament organization to undergo. It happens. So yeah, we will be restarting very, very shortly. That's going to be a four-man escape here, but not actually. So yeah, we will be right back with that. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, of a delay, but this is not the most consequential pause in the world. And
Mm.
yeah, we will be fixing that as soon as possible. So yeah, just a little bit of bearing with us, I suppose. I guess as myself and Bugs fill the time.
Ooh, it
Born
seems
to serve, forced to wear B tier. Yeah, that is kind of how the story goes.
the blight
But
of playing on low graphics, honestly.
it really is. I mean, I play on low graphics. Um, it's very
Really,
funny to play on low graphics as well because sometimes I will like
it could have been me,
you
but
you
I
load in
understand.
and somebody's like, "Oh, your skin has so many effects," and I'm like, "It does."
It does. That's news to me. Personally, I can see them because I play on high graphics, but I understand the pain.
Yeah, my poor little iPad heats up very very quickly.
Seems we're going to be restarting the match soon, just as fast as we possibly can. Uh, AT sweep. Yes, it was a wonderful sweep. Didn't we have so much fun, Bones? That blink was just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm assuming we are going to go with the same spawn picks, but just to talk about
Mhm,
those spawn picks for a second, Activators was setting up journalists to take that first chase there, being
mhm.
placed in the middle like that, trying to kind of bait BT into going there for the first chase. So that was very effective. However, you can see that was immediately kind of countered
Kind of
by
shot
Gamekeeper
down. Yeah.
spawning in the lower corner. So yeah, I'm
Very
excited to see how that turns out because it throws a wrench in Activator's plan there to have Gamekeeper spawn in such a weird area. Now, obviously, because of the pause, I mean, we're gonna possibly see that be, they're going to lose a little bit of the element of surprise, but it's an effective spawn point. It's a little bit unconventional, but I see the vision.
mhm. Also, to take into account of the trait that does lock ciphers at the beginning of the match for approximately 60 seconds. No, not 60 seconds. It's a little bit less than that.
Yeah,
Uh, that's probably
I
what
don't
he
remember
was
the
going
exact time.
for. I would personally believe because once again, somebody has to spawn at the shore, and to lock off those ciphers is to throw a wrench in the plans and gather a little bit more time to give some leeway that you don't get Cypher rushed. Here we are. We're back with the visuals. We are going to be seeing the
Yay!
Molten Hound,
Yeah, who
unfortunately.
turned out the lights?
Who turned out the lights? Yes. I'm sure I hadn't remembered to mention it, but believe me, the darkened screen was intentional. Uh, nothing has gone amiss quite yet.
Yeah, I do want to shout out the tournament staff though. Just these graphics are
These
absolutely
graphics are
incredible.
amazing.
The band pick screen, I spent like maybe 15 minutes last night just geeking out over how good the band pick screen looks and like the layout looks overall. So yeah, just a shout out to everybody on the staff team for making this happen, putting things together. Things happen when you do stuff live. That's just kind of the name of the game. So
Mhm.
yeah, thank you all for bearing with us as well. And we are right back into it. A little bit of an edit in this spawn position. I do wonder if that was a mistake as well. But heading into things, I would definitely expect this perfumer to possibly take the first chase. Possibly as well, novelist could take the first chase. That's going to be a little bit riskier, I would say. But perfumer is in a very strong area to start. Well, we will see where Gamekeeper goes. But once again, I am Bones. I'm here with Bugs today. We're going to be heading into the very first match of LO League tournament. I am very happy to be here. I hope we are all also happy to be here. And yeah, let's get this show on the road. That was almost perfectly on cue. So I'm going to take it.
Almost. Not quite. Almost. We'll give it to you. All right, we
Yeah,
will be seeing heading right down the middle, looking to clash right with the perfumer actually.
Yeah, perfumer here once again. Oh, maybe not. Where it looks like we're going to be turning around for a second, heading towards the center here. We might be chasing out that journalist who spawned in the center. A little bit risky of a first chase here, but it all depends on whether or not she can get those orphans out on time. Changing targets again, baiting out the perfumer here. Nicely done. Kind of lulling her into a false sense of security, and she will be taking this first chase.
Lovely first getting it out. Oh, and deciding to get the extra presents from the perfumer. Very, very. Oh.
Ooh, just so unfortunate there on that slow vault.
Very unfortunate. It seems that the hook is back online, and also I don't know if you can notice this, but the Gamekeeper is taking Patroller, which is another layer of staggering this chase, this first chase that is so integral to the Gamekeeper's gameplay. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, Patroller is definitely an interesting trait here. It's usually, you know, you will see Blink or even Peepers sometimes that Gamekeepers will carry. But yeah, it looks like we're actually going detention only. Or is that detention? Yeah, look.
But oh, we're seeing
nicely
the owl
done
come
on
out.
the timing.
A very lovely owl.
Yeah, Gamekeeper is just going to have to wait this out here, but we do have the pallets left to work with in this area. Patroller is still online, but it looks like we might be saving that for our rescue here. Gamekeeper heading with the hook and is going to reach it. Nicely done there.
Here is also right there, so we cannot, unfortunately, get any struggle process. We also have one Cypher done, giving the Novelist, I believe, time to rotate away from the rescue. It seems that we're going to be seeing the Novelist actually coming in again for a rescue. Possibly, if he can make it.
Yeah, we're going to see a little bit of pressure here, looking for the hook as well as the trap, but unfortunately just a little bit out of range there. Marone going to get the rescue, and Perfumer is back on her feet. Does still have a Perfumer remaining. Now, we can definitely use that to avoid the hook here. It is going to be a little bit risky. Gamekeeper, though, going for the extra hit on the Novelist.
Since he has let the Perfumer get away in an act of wonderful... Oh no, she's gotten stuck in a trap halfway across the map. Poor thing. Oh, she's gotten out already. We're going to be seeing the Patroller coming out.
Yep, first Patroller here, but keep in mind we are at 2 Cyphers remaining and only 1 share here. Right now, I would say we're looking at about a draw trajectory here for this gamekeeper, but only time
Anything
can
can
tell.
happen.
I mean, there are still two ciphers remaining, and beautifully done with that hook. Perfumer is going to go down once again for her second chair. Yeah, that was a very nice before half rescue. They can waste quite a bit of time here if slash when Journalist comes in with that tide turner. That could be huge for the Cypher Rush here.
Mhm. We also have to take note that the novelist did in fact use his flywheel during the previous rescue in an effort to dodge the hook. He will be going for the second rescue as well. Again, the gamekeeper's chair pressure is incredibly like terror shock and a follow up hit, but the cyber was prime, and we're seeing Boogie
Wow!
Woogie go.
Novelist coming through
Absolutely
with the switch
wonderful.
as well.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we're seeing a chair from the perfumer, and she will be dead on chair. However, the novelist here could be buying her some time to heal up. Going
Novelist
for
buying time. Unfortunately, Perfumer does have a healing debuff, and since she does not have Flywheel, she's not going to have Sticker to be able to heal up very quickly. Novelist is going down as well, and is just going to go right in that chair. Gamekeeper can definitely get a tie out of this here. A little bit unfortunate from AT, but yeah, Novelist just not able to get out of the area in time, and Perfumer's not going to be able to heal up here. That's going to be at least one confirmed elimination, and yeah, AT is just going to go ahead, play it safe, and stick with the draw here. But what a
what a
match
match.
there!
This incredible. I honestly did not consider that the Cypher had even been primed. That was a real surprise to me.
Yeah, just such effective Cypher Rush there from Activators.
And a wonderful chair
And
stuff as well.
yeah, the Terror Shock on the chair. It
Incredible.
was just
Right as I was saying
absolutely
too, that
right.
the gamekeeper's chair presence is just so incredibly suffocating in a way that like you just feel like you have to act at that moment or else he's going to hook you or you're going to get terror shocked, something like that. Incredible,
Yeah,
incredible play from both sides.
it's very, very difficult, to really get that timing there on the hook. But yeah, just perfectly timed there. Cypher Pop was great as well. I I I feel like that could have possibly been maybe pushing for a three-man escape if Journalist had gone in for that rescue. Novelist was
Hmm.
closer, did have the switch, but just staying a little bit too close to Gamekeeper there really, pushed that a little. I would say not in any team's particular favor. We are still in round one. It was a tie here, so that is going to be 2 points to each team, but not allowing AT to get the edge here is very, very valuable for Sky.
Hmm. That is 2 points that is going to them, correct? Yes.
Yep, two points to each team here for the
Two
first
points
round
each
with a
team.
draw.
Just
Two
making sure that
eliminations and two escapes. Yeah.
hmm
I am writing things down this
so
time so that I do not forget. And yeah, we are able to keep score. So yeah, I mean, having a draw in the first round honestly is a pretty good result for both sides here. It does, neither team gets a lead, but neither team, has an
is too
edge. There's
far
still the
behind.
second half of the round coming up. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's not as much ground, or there's not ground to cover yet. Of course, it also means that, neither team is at an advantage here, but with neither team being at a disadvantage, anything can happen.
Mhm.
So it also just shows, kind of the strength of the strength of both of these teams to be able to kind of push that into a tie, push that, from a loss from either side, a win for either side, keeping it even there is just it's admirable, really.
It is admirable. It's also I would like to take a moment to, praise the gamekeeper for not only bringing the patroller but also, knowing when to deploy it as they say. Uh, you know, it was a little bit late, but it was also very interesting that the it all played out just so well that the perfumer had gotten stuck in a trap, that he had located her after she had seemingly gotten away. I mean, we all thought that she was going to escape from
Yeah.
his grasp, but again, the
Gamekeeper does have
perfectly timed trap, perfectly placed trap, conveniently placed for the future, of course.
Yeah, I mean one of my favorite gamekeeper strategies is to just, you place a trap at the start of the match somewhere that you think somebody's going to kite to, hope that it works out. A lot of the time it does. And that's exactly what we saw here.
Hmm.
I wish that there was more patroller. I really do. I wish that we had
I
seen a
do
patroller
too.
come out earlier. I wish that we had seen, yeah, just more patroller, more, a little bit more pressure there. I mean, perfume that could have been a three-man escape there. You know, if
Hmm.
Novelist had been able to get out of the area in time, that would have been very, possibly still a draw because Perfumer was immediately going to be eliminated and the gate was relatively close, but yeah, it was risky. It was very very close there. It was very close to a three-man escape there for AT. So, yeah, I feel like, going forward here, AT survivors have kind of proven themselves and their ability to cipher rush. That cipher rush was absolutely
Absolutely
incredible.
incredible.
Three ciphers popped before we even noticed that they were popped. So, yeah, just very very strong work there, from AT survivors. Any match that you only see two survivors in, that is very good for the survivors immediately.
Hmm. It's also very interesting how we were hyping up this journalist to be like, oh yeah, if she could deploy the babies in time, we didn't even see her.
We did not see her, but hey, the best matches that you can possibly have, especially as a rescuer, are going to be,
The ones
the
where you can
matches
only
that all you
decode.
do is decode. Yep. It's almost ideal.
I know that I have had my fair share of wonderful, beautiful, incredible decoder mercs in my time. I'm one of them.
Yeah, I enjoy my rescuing. I enjoy my rescuing, but if a match comes to it and I don't have to do anything but look pretty and decode, then I'm not going to complain.
Exactly.
But I'm definitely very excited to see how both Sky Survivors and Activators Hunters are going to respond to this because once again, when we're on this even keel, it it can really go either way and it's up to each faction to kind of make a statement here. And really, swing things in one direction. I mean, if the first round ends up a tie, then the first round ends up a tie, and that is what it is. But the stakes are only going to get higher. More bans, the global bans will also come into play. So, yeah, it really is, it's up to, I would say ideally here. Um, Either one team is going to, you know, make a statement, come out on top. I'm hoping for
Mhm.
a little bit of risk, but of course it is still round one. We don't need to get risky yet. That's they can play. I would say if they play it safe here, I wouldn't be surprised. Is what I'm saying
Mhm.
because we are still in round one. They can push it up to 3 rounds. Uh, Keeping it stable here, not going to be a bad thing at all. So pushing for a tie, hoping for a win here on either side, I would say that's going to be kind of the statement to be made.
Mhm. We will be entering the second half, as you can see on the screen. Looking very, very promising from our end right now. Still going to be on Lakeside, of course. It is only the second half. We have not changed maps yet, but we will be seeing the Toy Merchant ban, and we will keep our Antiquarian on lockdown, unfortunately, for our Antiquarian fans. But I do respect the Toy Merchant ban, as she can be a, a bit of a pain on this map. Very,
Yeah, Toy
very much.
Merchant's a very strong character on any map that has layers in it. But of course, we are seeing that Priestess locked in first here. Very, very bold here from Sky Survivors, locking out that Priestess. To be fair, It is very likely that she would be banned otherwise heading into later rounds. It's also very likely that she would be the next ban locked in. So banning or allowing the priestess out here, I would honestly be a little
Oh,
suspicious of that. I would be a little suspicious of that. That priestess wasn't our first ban. Um, but yeah, it looks like we are going to have Seer as our following ban. And yeah, we should be seeing that survivor pick come through shortly. And as right on cue here, we are going to see Wildling as our third survivor. So this is almost reminiscent to me of kind of this Koa 4 era lineup where you have just a ton of tanks kind of stacked on top of
oh,
each other. And yeah, speaking of, we are going to see Aeroplanus as our final ban coming through.
how unfortunate.
Yeah, I myself, I will say I'm a little bit disappointed in the Aeroplanus ban, but it does speak to his strength as a character.
Especially on this map when you can uh boost yourself off the boat and get incredible amounts of distance. We're also going to be see the psychologist being locked in. My beautiful wife Ada.
Yeah, psychologist rounding out this lineup. This is a very, very strong survivor team, but a little bit interesting here. Wildling coming through and Wildling not being one of the first picks is kind of drawing my attention here. You don't see as much Wildling anymore, but for our round one Naiad here coming out from Activator's Hunter, that is extraordinarily unprecedented, but does that means business. That means business, business, business here from this Naiad.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a surely to put the pressure on the rescuers with your water as well. I'm assuming that the Gorge is going to be a rescuer as opposed to a kiter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing with this team is that you really don't have kind of a solid first chase. You know, you have I mean, Priestess I would say is probably um kind of your weakest kiter here, but the amount of control that she has over the map, I would say that Sky Survivors are planning to spawn her in on either. I would say big or small boat can definitely both work for a priestess here, both in terms of support portals as well as kind of her safety. But with a Naiad, you really do have to be careful of not tight kiting. She can water off the boat. She can water off um small boat. Pretty much any kiting area on Lakeside, she can very effectively water off. So these survivors are going to have to do a lot of transitioning. I would say Psychologist is definitely a little bit in trouble there. Coordinator, once she's used her gun, can transition kite. She does have a little bit of a built-in kind of vault boost, kiting boost. So in slightly less danger there, but still, all a coordinator has is her gun. And the moment that that is used, that's kind of, chops for her. But yeah, I am very, very kind of intrigued to see how these survivors are able to stand up to a Naiad because picking a Naiad in round one, I said this already, but it really does mean business. This means that this is a hunter who is confident in Naiad and, kind of preparing for her to be banned in later rounds. So yeah, I am very, very intrigued as to kind of what is in store for us. And yeah, Bugs did have some technical problems, so you're stuck with me for the time being. Whether that is fortunate or unfortunate, I'll leave that up to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is just such and it's just such an unprecedented lineup here for a round one. I mean, Survivor lineup, we're looking pretty average for you know a round one, but it does look like here. Yeah, we've got our Wildling here carrying Tide Turner. Everyone else does have borrowed time except for the coordinator. Now, coordinator does not have borrowed time. Pretty common because she is very much a first chase sort of character. We generally don't see coordinators bringing borrowed time with the expectation that, she will probably be sent back to the manor if she is not safe by endgame. So yeah. And for our spawn picks here, we're leaving a nice spot open for the Naiad in the center there. Um, which yeah, she is gladly going to take. We're going to have Priestess spawning in on the big boat. Wildling also in the center here, kind of baiting out that first chase. Wildling first chase for a Naiad, I would say, is not the worst situation to be in, but also uh could yeah, I would say coordinator would be an ideal first chase. Or psychologist, obviously. But yeah, I do believe that our technical difficulties are over right in time for the start of the match. Sound us off, Bugs. Why don't you?
Hi. Yes. We're going to be loading in the middle of the in the middle of the map. Uh, Looking like we're going to be heading right for the smaller boat. Oh, and running right into the wildling. It's an Oh, are we actually going to be chasing the wildling? Doesn't seem so. We're going to be going for that coordinator, it seems. And
Yup, hiding
honestly,
out right behind the small boat there.
it does seem that the coordinator is also sporting a wonderful little name that signifies that she is also a fan of Grace, such as I am, as such the same as me. Gonna be a little bit of a mind game at the window there.
Yeah, nicely done from coordinator here. Just going to continually vault that window. Kind of getting within range of this gun here. Naiad missing the hit, and that is going to be our gun discharge. Now, we are not seeing excitement online here, so very nicely done here from our coordinator. And we're also just in a very, very strong kiting area. For a Naiad, I did say that we can lock off the kiting areas, but anywhere with layers is a little bit more tricky to get.
Hmm.
So yeah, just very nicely done from the coordinator, transitioning here into the double 11 area. And this is somewhere that we can lock off. So coordinator is going to need to be very careful with how she utilizes this area.
Blink is also online. We're gonna be
Ooh.
seeing it used as well. We're probably going to be transitioning back to the oh no, we're going back towards the big boat. This is a very risky play, but oh, and we'll
Ooh.
be seeing our first down, unfortunately, but a very good kite. As you can see, we've had very good progress. One cipher is already done. The priestess had just pinged her cipher. She's at 85%. This is a very wonderful first kite, and especially in this tucked away corner, it's going to be very difficult to rescue from.
Yeah, it does look like Wildling is in the area here, but we do have wanted order. Now, something else to note as well is that this Naiad
Oh,
is not bringing insolence. Nicely done with that water Wildling, kind of cutting it close with this rescue.
we will be seeing another down on the wildling. That was an amazing dash to cancel the boar. Uh, Putting the survivors in just a stuffy situation here.
Yeah, and
That
I mean, yeah, you were absolutely right in your prediction here with this Naiad's ability to camp the chair. I mean, she just has, this area is just so wide open. She can very easily just water off the whole thing. We're seeing the other two survivors standing in wait here, giving tinnitus, but not making any progress on the ciphers.
we do see the priestess trying to set up some support support portals just in case that we do get the rescue off. Oh, and we do have the psychologist going for the rescue. However, we will be seeing the Murrow on his first chair as well. But it's very good that we have at least the coordinator. Maybe we can look for a heal. Probably not. We're probably just going to go for a rescue. But still, this is a very good situation to be in if you are the Naiad.
Yeah, and I would say, it's very valuable here for the psychologist to get that no damage rescue kind of coming in from behind. And we're going to
Mhm.
see her coming in for a second rescue here. Unfortunately, no tide turner in play, but, as long as we're able to get Wildling off of chair here, psychologist can take 3 hits. That is going to be much easier for her. And Wildling is going to be able to get right back on that board. So unfortunately, no water to kind of cancel that this time. And he is right off. Now, I would not be surprised here if we end up seeing a little bit of a target change just until Wildling is off that board. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is the thing with kind of the Wildling's ability to rebound kite. Just getting right on that board wastes so much time here. Just very, very valuable for Sky. They need time. They need to be able to kind of recover their decoding progress. But we're going to switch to teleport here, and Psychologist is going to take the chase with almost nothing to work with except for broken windows.
She's got 9 in a dream right now. Uh, seems that we're going to be focusing right back on decoding. They have taken the world portal and they are healing the wildling, so perhaps we will get a wildling rescue coming in here, and we will see the psychologist seeing her first chair in the match. However, we are at 3 ciphers, and it's about to be 2 actually. This is a very good position for either side, honestly.
Yeah, I would say that Sky Survivors are actually kind of taking the edge here with Coordinator having been fully healed up, still has Tide Turner as well. Um, yeah, just very unfortunate here that Polaris did lose that target. But it
Mm.
does look like we're keeping a bit of a wide camp here, trying to water off as much of the map as we can. And it looks like we might be committing to the Coordinator with the Priestess portal right here. It's going to be a little bit risky. But Wildling as well in the area. We've got 1 cipher remaining and 4 survivors still up. Coordinator taking the chase once again. Now, what's important to remember here is that Coordinator does not have borrowed time. So if we're looking for kind of this final chase, Coordinator is in a little bit of danger. We're going to see Wildling get knocked off the boar as well. Coordinator about to take a hit here. Cypher is not yet primed. So she will be seeing her second chair here. I
She's dead.
do believe, yeah, she was rescued after half, unfortunately. So yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there that she was able to kind of get found out there. That is kind of the value of Wanted Order. And another teleport here right back onto that psychologist. The map pressure here from Polaris is just absolutely incredible to watch.
Oh, we're seeing a pop as well.
Wow.
What a wonderful, wonderful chase. Really just it goes to show the strength of Polaris's Naiad. We will be seeing the remaining survivors healing up. Wildling is also coming in for the rescue, while the priestess seems to be focusing on decoding. Uh, it's honestly a wonder how they can even keep such a cool head, but it is a testament to how professional these teams are. We will be seeing a
Ooh.
rescue once again with Tide, as uh, Wildling had not rescued yet. We'll be chasing the wildling just to probably get him, considering he has been on the share before. He will be camping out in the corner here just to buy some time to get the psychologist away. Uh, Also to, get a good distance away from the chair to buy extra time to decode. Seems that the cipher is primed actually. So we might be seeing oh no. She's just making a world portal. It's not primed.
Yeah, I was going to say we could see that global portal come into play just to get Priestess with full health to the chair. That's exactly what's going to happen. But of course, with the global portal, oh, but
My
the
goodness.
image was still there. That is
Heartbreaking.
absolutely huge here for AT, knocking down Psychologist while she was trying to prime the cipher. They can't decode anymore. Until Psychologist self heals, they're not going to be able to decode that final cipher. As many, we are going to waste quite a bit of time here with Wildling being on that boar, but Psychologist just has to heal as fast as she can, which okay, yeah, we are going to get that heal off, but with the teleport here,
Another
because Polaris knows
teleport.
exactly where that Prime Cipher is.
We'll be watering off the shack as well, just to discourage, and also watering off the cipher would be another way to discourage decoding. And we will be seeing Chase resuming on Father Milk, who is on the last chair actually. So this is a very stuffy situation. However, the priestess is working on the cipher. It could possibly be done by the time that the psychologist gets down, and we could be looking at either a tie or even a win for either side, honestly. Oh, and we will be popping the cipher just without a hit at all.
Yeah, just trying to
Wonderful,
catch
wonderful
Polaris
situation.
while we're in that water dash here. And yeah, with 3 survivors here, all of which did have borrowed time, that does mean that they can kind of withstand the water for just a little bit longer. And this
Mm.
is just the pressure of these survivors standing up to this Naiad is just incredible here. Though, really, the only thing that they could have done to kind of save this for themselves was force Polaris to stretch thin. And that's exactly what's happening here. We're going to see Priestess taking this chase. If the survivors are able to reach the other exit gate, I would say they're going to be able to draw this at the very least. If they can do if they can do it before teleport comes back online.
We have
And it looks
16
like we
seconds on the
have
teleport, and of course, we do not have Uh oh, oh,
Ooh.
a wonderful hit.
Yeah, just knocked right out of the portal there. We are going to see Priestess chaired, but it looks
Looks like
like they are
the gate
just
is
making
already
it to
open.
oh, no, okay, the gate was open. All right, yeah, that is going to be a tie there, but not for
What a
lack of
match.
fighting. Just
Really.
absolutely incredible teamwork there from Sky. And yeah, I mean, you can definitely see why activators locked that Naiad in for round one, but just the communication there
It's a
was
wonderful match inside.
incredible.
It's a wonder how in such a situation that they could keep a calm head. And but that just like I said, that just goes to a testament to show how professional these teams really are. Uh how level-headed and clear-minded they can remain in the face of adversity, such as Wildling getting stuffed and being set back on. I believe it was two ciphers at that time. That was
Yeah.
incredible. What a comeback from such a grim situation that they had found themselves in, unfortunately.
Yeah, just incredible work there from I really thought that that was going to be a four-man elimination. When you have a situation where you have one survivor downed, one survivor in the chair, and two survivors at the chair, that feels like it should be a four-man elimination situation, but just the caution that Sky survivors were able to execute there,
Hmm.
the kind of discipline there, the waiting to rescue, waiting to, kind of regroup, being very, very defensive about it and very cautious, that secured them the tie because they didn't go in, you know, kind of guns blazing, let's get this rescue, full steam ahead. They
Hmm.
really, really stretched the Naiad thin, and that was just so strong there.
Really coming out of the how does that saying go? Coming out just
Of the closet? I'm not sure what reference you're trying to make here.
okay. Well, it's not that.
It's
I can tell you it's not that. But it really just goes to show that, you know, what we're dealing with is the best of the best at this point in time. Uh it's honestly they had gotten into so many situations where I had thought to myself, like there's just no coming back from this. There's no uh there's like this is such a suffocating situation to be in, and yet they persisted and they saw the match out through the end. That's very commendable.
mhm. Yeah, and I mean, the whenever teams can really pull out the teamwork like that, that is just admirable, really.
Hmm.
Just the communication it takes to get there, the training that these teams do to really come together and collaborate in times of, crisis.
Hmm.
Because that was just not an ideal early game. Wildling getting stuffed there was incredible. And just
Wonderful
so
Naiad.
yeah, just a great, great play there from Polaris. But the tenacity of the survivors to stand up to that, just incredibly, incredibly played there for our first round. But that leaves us deadlocked here in our round one. We've got a 4-4 score, draws on either side. So
It's anyone's
we're
game,
really,
honestly.
yeah,
Really
we're
is
we're
just
heading into the
anyone's
rest
game.
of this. Hmm?
Really is just anybody's game at this point in time.
Yeah. But we do have the addition. We have hunter bands coming in, which is going to be big. Now we are dealing with two teams that have multiple different hunters, as well as each of those hunters has a very deep hunter pool. So I I would be, I wouldn't expect just one hunter band to have that big of an effect on these teams. One hunter ban is one hunter ban, but neither, as we've been kind of seeing in tournament lately, that round two ban, opera singer.
Hmm.
Neither team pulled out an opera singer in this first round. Now, this either means, that they don't have an opera singer and that their hunter pool is just wide enough that they can pull out, I would say Gamekeeper less of a controversial pick at this point, but Naiad round one, it really means that you're keeping these survivors on their toes. There's no sort of telling what is to come from these survivor sides. So strategizing that becomes that much harder when you're dealing with a team. When you're dealing with two teams on both sides, where the expectations go anywhere.
Really, really is something to look forward to, especially, you know, taking out that first hunter ban is going to be, open the air for even more picks, for even more hunters that we can see them excel at. It's really excited, honestly. I personally don't have experience with either of these teams, so I'm endlessly amazed.
Yeah, it looks like, speaking of those hunter switches, we are going to see Music Man subbing in for BT on Skye. So, yeah, once again, this does mean a little bit of this unpredictability coming into round two. We're looking at Dream Witch, we're looking at Mad Eyes, we're looking at Sculptor. Now, Skye is a team that is pretty well known for their Mad Eyes picks, so I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing a Mad Eyes in round two. But that also means that Activator survivors, they can go ahead and either ban Mad Eyes or just counter comp him. We've been seeing, right now, kind of to draw the comparison to Call of the Abyss right now, RD is the Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan team. They are known for their Mad Eyes as well, but we're seeing every team that they go against knows that they're going to be pulling out that Mad Eyes and goes, hard counter. They go Thief. They go, Wildling. They go Professor just to eat the chip like one hit of chip damage. Professor has so many little passive traits, but one of those is that he can tank one hit of chip damage. Just the first hit that he takes, it doesn't count. So teams will, they'll do that, just pull all of that out and make it almost impossible to play Mad Eyes against. So with, Mad Eyes is kind of that. It's a strong pick. Mad Eyes is a very, very strong hunter, but as vulnerable as he is strong. But yeah, just more and more variables on the table here for these teams to contend with. I would be interested to see as well if Activators is going to kind of change up their hunters, but because they do have some very, very strong hunters kind of on their side. So we will be seeing, if these teams are going to kind of, take advantage of how deep it runs, of how deep their versatility and their diversity can really go. And I do want to give a shout out to Jupiter in the chat there. That is who drew my beautiful PNG.
Oh,
So please go give Bun some love. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. Or actually, don't look at it right now because we are going to be moving into our band picks here. And yeah, heading into round two for our first half. I'm very excited to see what the map pick here is going to be because map pick can really, really kind of make or break this in these teams. But it looks like we will
oh,
be getting that soon here.
I know somebody that's going to be very unhappy in a couple of seconds.
Oh, that's the global ban. Yeah. So just to review here, we are working with the global bans from our first round. So for activators, we are going to ban the perfumer as well as the seer. Those are just those are innate. Those are pre-existing. Those are our first two picks from the previous round, permanently banned. So that is something that teams have had to kind of figure out how to strategize around. Now this has been it has been something that teams are used to at this point, but yeah, I'm excited to see kind of how they're able to strategize around that. And it looks like we are going to be going with Moonlit as our map pick. So that leaves it open for quite a few hunters here. It's a big map, but it's very open. It can be very, very strong for pretty much not every hunter, but definitely quite a few. So these hunters do have a lot of versatility to work with.
It also leaves the door open for my beloved patient.
All right, and it looks like there was a slight miscommunication here. We are going to have Sky on the survivor side first. That is going to be, I believe, Priestess and Coordinator as our global bans. So yeah, we will be seeing the Perfumer and the Seer bans in the next half of the round. But with Sky surviving first, AT is going to be returning to the Hunter side first. So yeah, we will be getting that sorted out momentarily. So that does mean Perfumer's still on the table.
Yeah, for now, for now at least.
To the joy of our viewers. But not having Priestess here definitely kind of puts a wrench in Moonlit being the map pick. Now, Priestess would probably have been banned anyway because it is Moonlit River Park, but now Activator's Hunter doesn't have to ban Priestess on Moonlit, which leaves the floor open for any bans.
He's our first ban pick for the hunter side is going to be coming into. We're going to be seeing, unfortunately, another Antiquarian ban. Very, very tragic news for our Antiquarian fans. We will also be seeing another understandable ban on Toy Merchant. I know that it's a very, very sad day for many Annie fans out there. I'm sorry, Mima, that you don't get to see your girl, but maybe soon. We're also going to be seeing our first hunter ban coming out. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing a clerk this time around. But
yeah,
that does leave the door open for other hunters.
Yeah, and I do believe that we will be seeing Polaris hunt again, unless there is a switch that I'm not aware of. But yeah, so that does leave Naiad on the table again, which means that that's a little bit. It's not risky here because Sky Survivors were able to stand against that Naiad, but I would say it's interesting. It's interesting because they had to fight so hard for that tie. I was kind of expecting a Naiad ban. But yeah, banning Clerk here with the cipher pressure that we saw, I mean, in the previous round, I'm not surprised that we're banning Clark.
Right.
But yeah, once again, we do have the floor open here with I would say the toy merchant ban is kind of the equivalent of that priestess ban. With priestess on the table, what's the next best priestess? This is how band picks, they kind of come down to a science after a certain point. Once priestess is banned, you come out with toy merchant. If toy merchant's not available, you head up to the next best thing. But it looks like we are going to be going for a little bit of the tanks here, locking in the psychologist, which of course I'm sure Bugs you are very happy to see, as well as the forward, which I am very happy to see. So there's a little gift for both of us here today.
Ada.
Yeah, psychologist here, not surprised to see, especially after the last match, really wanting to get her out as soon as possible. And she can be substituted out for a familiar face that I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen yet is the mercenary. And yeah, with that next ban here, we are going to see say goodbye to our patient.
We're not going to see the lovers in this match. What is the point at all? But we will be seeing if he could make an appearance.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we see a patient at some point. Yeah,
Eventually.
as long as he's not banned. But I definitely understand banning the patient here, especially because, as a hunter, you do not want to have that synergy
Right.
that comes with the psychologist and the patient. But, another thing that the patient is really good for is kiting around the stops that are on Moonlit River Park. And with his
Mhm.
ban, Acrobat is going to come through. Now, Acrobat as well is, kind of the definitive. I would say Moonlit is his home. And Moonlit is absolutely,
It's
just
quite
a
literally his
great
home. He
map for
lives there.
Acrobat. Yeah. He probably doesn't want to anymore, but he does still live there.
Well, he
But
probably
there's
doesn't live there anymore. He's probably moved on. And
And yeah,
oh,
with our final band here coming through in just a moment, but yeah, the versatility of the acrobat here is something I'm very excited to see, especially
mhm.
with that patient band. Our hunter's a little bit worried about kind of that transitional capability. Acrobat can do it, just as well as a patient. So yeah, I'm interested to see that. And with our final band here, we are going to see our first officer leave the premises, not looking for that stable rescuer to come out.
When I tell you my jaw drops seeing that pick, we're going to be seeing a lawyer in this match. How
Yep,
wonderful.
honestly, not that much of a surprise though. We've been seeing, I mean, we were seeing more lawyer a few months ago than we're seeing now. Like I said at the start of the
Mhm.
stream, the meta has been changing faster than a normal human person can keep up. Um, just a few months ago, we were seeing Lawyer in almost every match. Now we see him very rarely, but making an appearance here again. We are going to see that Lawyer. Um, he hasn't been, or he was nerfed very slightly after his initial speed boost, but he still runs very, very fast. He still decodes very, very fast. He's a very valuable member of this team, especially with the decoding debuffs of the forward. You're dealing with a 30% decoding debuff on your team. You need to have the Cypher Rush to back that up. And Lawyer kind of brings that balance here that was a little, not missing because neither Acrobat nor Psychologist have decoding debuffs.
Mm.
But, a decoding buff is never unwelcome, especially when you have a pretty significant decoding debuff on your team.
Another factor is that he can also, look at his map and see the location of the hunter. And that could also be very helpful to his teammates considering they are on voice chat. Uh, just to, help if they do take the opportunity to hide during the beginning. Very, very beneficial to the team, especially if you want to get like those extra seconds of not being visible to the hunter.
Yeah, it's a very valuable thing to have, especially as you say with a four-man VC team. Lawyer can pretty much keep tabs on the hunter at all times.
Oh my.
But we are actually going to see in just okay, yeah, there we go. We are going to see an opera singer coming out here. Round two opera singer is not something that you see every day, but that is exactly what we are going to see. She is still very, very strong on Moonlit River Park. She does have quite a few shadows, to just traverse the map very quickly. And even with her nerf, she's still at the top of this hunter pool. So if Sky Survivors are able to kind of keep up that communication that they had in the previous match, I do think that they stand a pretty good chance here, though, because we've seen their communication already. So if they're able to kind of continue that streak, this still like with it's not particularly a counter comp, but we do have some very, very tanky survivors here. We have the psychologist automatically takes 3 hits. Acrobat kind of plays with fire literally, but stays, just out of reach with his bombs. Forward as well, a very reliable stunner. And Lawyer with the Cypher Rush. This is a very strong survivor lineup. And yeah, I would say a not opera singer at a disadvantage here, but with the size of the map, opera singer is really going to have to be on her game coming into
Mm.
this.
Um, no, it doesn't seem that we've gotten the persona trees yet. However, we will be seeing. Oh, is that Ryuji? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to have
Mhm.
that. Oh, nope, we are going to see Lazy Mr.
Okay,
Bunny instead. A very, very
a
beautiful
better
face.
pick, debatably.
Um, but yeah, locking in here, it looks like we've got Flywheel on the Acrobat. We've got, yeah, Flywheel on the Acrobat. No borrowed time here on that forward. But we do have Broken Windows as well as Tide Turner. Rest of the team is carrying Broken Windows as well as Borrowed Time. And heading right into things, we've got immediately locking in our spawn picks. Yeah, Moonlit River Park is one of those maps where you do have pretty dedicated spawn locations. We've got Acrobat kind of taking charge of that fourth stop. Psychologist nice and safe at her first stop location, ready to take the coaster if she so needs. Lawyer in the center there, kind of a little bit of bait, I would say, but it is still a lawyer. He does know exactly where the hunter is at all times, and he has full control of that two-story location. Forward out on the bridge, and we are going to get right into it. I would say our first chase here, it's going to be risky if we go for four-stop Acrobat, but that is a pretty common direction to take. Lawyer here is in a harder to chase area, but I feel like we could be looking at a standoff here between the opera singer and the acrobat over at that fourth stop heading into this.
We're going to be going straight for the lawyer. Once again, though, he can see where the hunter is, so he could just take this opportunity to hide just a little bit. But it seems that he's going to be getting ready for his 15 seconds of fame, perhaps.
I would say it's going to be quite a lot more than that. We're seeing already a transition into God Kite here, and as well, a little bit of trouble here with these Opera Singer dashes from Polaris. We're seeing not quite in cooldown yet, but just missing that hit with the size of the Opera Singer's hitbox. This is a very strong area for Lawyer to be able to transition into, and pretty far away as well from the decoding progress, but a beautiful hit in there through that pallet to start us off.
We will see the lawyer kind of open transitioning, which, I mean, he has the speed boost to be doing that. He has the distance as well to be doing that, considering that she taking the second stop roller coaster all the way to third stop, perhaps even the fourth stop if the
Yup,
yes,
it looks like all of those stops have been turned off here. And this is exactly what I was saying about the communication here from Sky. They are absolutely on point with that, just forcing Polaris all the way across the map here. It is just incredible to see. We're seeing Acrobat kind of acting as bait here, but Lawyer is just going to continue to take this chase. Is one hit down, but with the amount of distance that we've been able to bring here from this opera singer, this is just such a long containment.
Also, take note that the opera singer here is not running Blink, she is running Excitement for the forward. So that also adds to a layer of, we're going to be seeing it down.
Yeah, nicely done there. Unfortunately, Lawyer just not able to drop that pallet in time. And that will be our first chair. We're still at 5 ciphers remaining. A little bit unfortunate here that basement is here. Yeah, that's not going to be the easiest rescue to pull off, but it is very possible. Opera Singer, does have camp capabilities, but, she is not Naiad here, so Polaris really needs to be cautious with this. We've got 3 ciphers remaining already. And yeah, just heading in for the rescue forward into the basement there, not using the ball to stun. I feel like we might be expecting a little bit of that excitement coming through.
Seeing the forward unfortunately gets stuck. But the acrobat is here to pick up the pace. We will be seeing the acrobat. Just missing the firebomb, but unfortunately for the opera singer, she walks right into it. Going for the lawyer and shifting his attention from the forward. But now we're in a very sticky situation. It seems the survivors are stuck in the basement.
Yup, and this is exactly the danger for the survivors heading into the basement here. It's a little bit reminiscent of this first match. We have 3 survivors.
It could also mean that if one of them is going to get balloon hit. It's a very, very sticky situation. We will see the excitement coming out into play, getting the forward down, but the acrobat makes his grand escape. And we will be seeing the lawyer unfortunately blasting off.
Yeah, that is just absolutely incredible pressure here. It really is the danger of the basement, and getting kind of caught in it. Seeing nice bomb here from Acrobat, but unfortunately caught in the middle of it.
Interesting hit there. And the forward just doesn't have enough time to heal, unfortunately. And we will be seeing both survivors probably being shared in the basement.
Yeah, I would say we're gonna go for the double basement.
Opera singer, of course, wants to monitor where the psychologist is going, in which case she might just leave the acrobat on the ground here for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, looks like we're
We're not seeing
waiting
any ciphers
for the
in this position,
psychologist to tap a cipher.
so we will cut our losses for now and share the acrobat. Not in. Oh,
No, I would say this is we're
probably giving
preparing
a
for
little
a
bit of
slug game here,
time
everybody.
so that we can locate the psychologist in favor of just taking the acrobat to chair.
Yeah, this
Really
is we're pushing for a four-man here, and that's exactly what AT
trying as
really
much time
needs
as
to
we
kind of
can
set the
because the
tone for this
psychologist
round.
would like to locate the dungeon, of course. Keep as much distance from the hunter as you can.
Yeah,
And
Polaris going to pressure these ciphers,
oh,
switching
we
to
will be
abnormal actually.
just to ensure that we don't pop any more ciphers than we need to, and we will be seeing that the opera singer has located the psychologist, but of course, she does still have stress, and she could also go for the heal on the acrobat if she so wished, considering he is at 99 health.
Yeah, they're definitely. Oh, they're gonna try and get close to the acrobat. Unfortunately, psychologist taking a hit a little bit farther away
Well,
here.
probably going to pick himself up once the psychologist gets down. This is a very strong chase that we're seeing from the opera singer, and it just goes to show how strong that the opera singer can be, even when a terror shot. It's looking really.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a four-man elimination here. Unfortunately, yeah, just getting caught in basement like that really threw
Oh,
off
there we go.
the.
There's the self heal. I was very confused. It seems that the acrobat will now be taking up the chase while the psychologist heals. Seems that we are having a little bit of technical difficulty, so it is just me on my own for now. But we will be returning to.
Am I audible? All right, yeah, looks like, yeah, that is going to be a solid four-man elimination here. Putting pressure around the dungeon, but yeah, at this point, it really is just, tracking down the slug survivors, getting them in chairs before they're able to crawl to dungeon, and yeah, I don't know if it picked up or not, but...
It probably did. I think it was a me issue. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how much of what I was saying was being picked up here, but yeah.
I don't even know.
This
If
is exactly the momentum that AT needs, um, to kind of just make a statement here in the second round.
We will be seeing that the dungeon is unfortunately right next to the opera singer, so the acrobat has no hope of ever crawling there with how much health he has right now. But what a lovely match this was. It really just goes to show that even if you have the distance, the communication, that things really can just take a turn for. Sorry, I was just looking at the Stay Put I'm Coming ping and thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, well, yeah, the power here of the opera singer, just really being put on display, just so strongly there. I tend to underestimate opera singer at this point, I feel like, but she is just such a strong hunter, especially in the hands of somebody who really, really knows what they're doing. And we're just seeing, um, the strength here, the map control that Polaris was able to pull off. You know, it was a little bit risky on that first chase. Not bringing Blink there did make it pretty long, but the pressure in the basement just sealed that match there for AT, and that's going to be 5 full points. Um,
a
On
very
the side of AT, 0 points here to Sky in this second round, bringing us back from a tie. Now, if Sky's Hunter is able to four-man elimination here, that's going to be, we're still going to be deadlocked. So it's not necessarily a boost ahead for AT, but I would say morale-wise, that is absolutely huge for their survivors heading into the second half of this round.
it's really a testament to just uh how strong Opera Singer is, because not only did she come back from, being halfway across the map from the lawyer, but she was essentially right there when he got off of the roller coaster, and
Mhm.
that was incredible. Like, that was
It's
absolutely
more watching good opera singers makes you feel like she hasn't been nerfed.
right.
It really, really.
It really just makes you feel like how business as usual.
Well, but it comes down to just the individual skill of the hunter at the end of the day. We do see, um, a lot of a lot of hunters, who are just picking up Opera Singer or who haven't adjusted to her nerf tend to kind of get a little bit tripped up because the parts of her that have been affected are her normal speed, her speed within the shadows, and some of her cooldowns, but her dash speed has not been affected very much. So if hunters are able to kind of keep up that infinite dash, it's as if her speed hasn't changed at all, and that's exactly what we just saw
Hmm.
with the ability to just kind of harness those shadows head all the way across the map in just a matter of seconds. That is the strength of the opera singer just put on full display. But heading into the second half of round two,
We will now be
Sky.
seeing unfortunate ban on the priestess, and another global ban to remind everybody. The global bans for AT are perfumer and seer, as you can see. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to hit the.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, perfumer. Priestess ban here is kind of a given. I'm interested in psychologist ban though. It feels very, very specific here and a little bit targeted, I would say, towards those first round picks. We are, you know, in a position here where we're going to head into round three. So, those global bans are really going to matter in the next round. You want to kind of force the survivors to pick kind of those higher intensity characters, bring out with both priestess and seer band, we do have room for an antiquarian. I would say antiquarian being first pick here is definitely not out of the question for our survivors, but we are going to see that Mad Eyes ban being locked in. So unfortunately, no Mad Eyes here today, but that does leave the table open to, pretty much any other hunter on the board.
I know a lot of people are going to be really upset that we're seeing our Mad Eyes ban, but you know when you know that your opponent is excels at Mad Eyes, it's unfortunate, but we're going to have to part with him for now. But that also, like as you said, that leaves the floor open for even more hunters that we may not even have on record. That
Yeah, I would say here, yeah, we are going to see Music Man heading in as the hunter coming into this
oh
round for
right, it's
Sky.
Mythic Man.
So yeah, definitely a pretty deep hunter pool with that. We could definitely see a Dream Witch coming out here. We could also see a Sculptor coming out here. Both of these hunters are, pretty good on Moonlit River Park. Dream Witch, the one thing with a Dream Witch is a little bit similar to an opera singer. You do have just a very, very big map to contend with.
Mhm.
So hunters that don't have, you know, like Dream Witch only has a fairly small circle of influence. She can only really be active within, half of the map at a time. So it comes down to how well the survivors are really able to kind of get around that. We could also see a gamekeeper here. We could see Opera Singer once again. That is still on the table here with that Mad Eyes ban. We could see, pretty much um any selection here for the hunters, which, does make it kind of bring that level of difficulty into AT's kind of survivor strategy. Now, they do only need one escape here. That's definitely something that we could see come into play, or that we will pretty much, definitely see coming into play. They only need a one-man escape. So they could play this very, very risky escape with one man and still win the round. So the stakes here for activator survivors are, definitely still high, but a little bit, you know, a little bit less pressure here. But for our first two picks, we're actually going to see Barmaid and Gravekeeper.
Gravekeeper doing his little dancey dance. This is a very interesting pick. I personally am a fan of the Barmaid, so I'm very excited to see uh, just how this particular Barmaid plays. We're also going to be seeing an Antiquarian ban as well. Again, very understandable, very unfortunate for our Chi fans in the chat.
Hmm. I would say with this comp, I would say we're probably going to be gearing up for a Gamekeeper. I would also submit to the table with this Barmaid and this Gravekeeper. They could be gearing up to try. I would say, like, it takes Hermit off the table
Mhm.
pretty securely there. If they're specifically counter comping a Hermit, it would be, that's a little bit interesting. But Barmaid and Gravekeeper both work out very, very well here as Gamekeeper counters. I would say that's definitely the Hunter that we're trying to avoid. And for our final pick, a pick that is going to make a lot of people in the chat very, very happy, I would say, is going to be the Painter. Now,
Andrew Galden.
we don't see Painter often, but we've been seeing Painter more and more in this tournament season. He did just get reworked, so that's a pretty big boost here for Painter. We can get the painting a little bit faster as well. I mean, I think the stun is a little bit less if we get the painting faster. I believe that's the trade-off there for the Painter rework. But yeah, Painter did just get reworked. We did see Painter pick quite a few times in Koa qualifiers. By Asian teams. We saw Painter picks in China, we saw Painter picks in Japan. So yeah, not an unprecedented pick here, but I'm happy to see some kind of flavorful picks here in NAU.
We also have our third, I believe, toy merchant ban, which is
Yeah.
of course very unfortunate, but very understandable. Do not worry, Annie. Your time will come, I'm sure. Unless global ban kicks in which case, yikes. But uh we will be seeing our hunter pick soon. And honestly, with this team, it could be anybody. It could honestly just be anybody at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very interested in the Painter pick because Painter pick is so specific here that this is definitely like a strategy that has already been worked out. So yeah, when you see kind of unconventional picks like that, it's either, a Hail Mary or,
Mm.
you know, it can be very dangerous. It's a little bit like seeing that Naiad pick in round one. It's like, there's something cooking here. It can be as well just a little bit of psychological warfare on that front. You're picking an off meta survivor. You're picking somebody who kind of carries a little bit of risk. But yeah, we are going to get our Persona webs locked in here. We've got Gravekeeper carrying Tide Turner. Rest of the survivors do have broken windows, and all survivors are carrying borrowed time. And we are going to see that sculptor coming out here from Music Man. So not once again, we're not seeing a hunter that we see constantly, but this is. I feel like we're returning. We're returning to sort of a shadow of the glory days of the sculptor. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. But yeah, heading into this, once
I
again, oh,
No, you can go ahead for now.
um, yeah, activators here once again only needs one escape. So if they're able to Cypher Rush this, I would say Cypher Rush is going to be the biggest factor here for this team. If they're able to get it, if they're able to get it to Cypher Pop, automatically that increases the chances of just a one-man escape. That's all they need. So they can, they can play this as risky as they want, but if they're able to get to that end game here, they really, really do stand a chance. But in that same vein, you have that much pressure on Music Man here for Sky to 4-man elimination. So, yeah.
What I was going to say earlier is that I almost made a mortifying mistake of reading something out from the chat out loud, and that would have been the end of my career as we know it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say it then.
Yeah. Let me wait. Oh, you already read the persona trees out. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Just a refresher though, we have Gravekeeper running Tide Turner as well as Borrowed Time. As a matter of fact, everybody's running Borrowed Time, and Barmaid, Acrobat, and Painter will all be running Bogalenta.
Yeah, it's a formidable team comp here. I feel like, especially now more than ever, I keep kind of hammering in this point, but communication is what's really going to bring this team together. You have Barmaid here with support. You have Painter here who can provide support as well. So Acrobat can also be, all of these characters can come in to support each other, and I think that's really going to be, Activator's greatest asset heading into this match, because that's what they need in order to kind of coordinate this escape and win this round. And on the flip side, you do have Sculptor. You have her map control with the pick. You have, kind of her ability to knock body blocking out of the way. Once she reaches full presence, those statues are everywhere. So, yeah, teammate support here is really, really going to be key. And exploiting that support is going to be key on the Hunter side.
We will be seeing once again the instant picks for the map selection. We will be seeing Painter sitting at first stop. Oh, he's going to last stop. We will be seeing the Gravekeeper on the bridge, and Acrobat taking the first stop area, and Barmaid at the two-story, with Music Man spawning a little bit directly in the middle. It could be. Honestly, he could go for any survivor here on that side of the map. He could go for the Gravekeeper. He could go for the Painter. He could go for the Barmaid. It's really just up to him in which direction he wants to go with it.
Yeah, I would say here, going for Gravekeeper is a risk, but if we're able to force a shovel out of Gravekeeper early, we can just switch targets. It does look like we're carrying up down here. We've got confined space running on the Sculptor, so we're not going to see any trait switch. It's a little bit of a risk there. I would say, yeah, it looks like we're not bringing Blink. But, that does just mean that we're very, very confident in statues here. And the ability to get a statue down. But Gravekeeper taking this first chase for now. We're going to force out that shovel early on. And it looks like, yeah, we are just going to go ahead and commit to the Gravekeeper here. Looking for that statue to knock him out of the shovel. And it looks like we're going to have to settle for a basic hit there.
Very good job of looping those two pallets, however. Especially when you're in your shovel, you want to try and use the little trail as much as you can to hide where you actually are to avoid a hit. These are some beautiful statues.
Ooh! Nicely done there from Gravekeeper. And yeah, this is really the danger of chasing the Rescuer first. You are chasing somebody who has kiting capability. even if, Gravekeeper is the only one on this team who is not carrying Broken Windows, is carrying Tide Turner, we are going to get a hit in there, but we still have one shovel remaining to use. Gravekeeper can save this here for a rebound kite, or we can use it now, but dodging the statues here once again, and another pallet stun! Music Man just running right into that.
We're also seeing 2 ciphers popping as well as the dungeon being revealed. And it looks like now that the final shovel has been used, we're going to be changing targets to the painter.
Yeah, Painter taking this chase here. We're at 3 ciphers remaining. So yeah, once again, chasing the Gravekeeper does mean that you allow the rest of the team to get a lot of progress, but a beautiful chip hit there on the Painter. And unfortunately not. Oh, yes, we are actually going to get that second chip hit in there, and a beautiful down on the Painter before we were even able to paint. That's exactly what Music Man needs here.
Also, worth noting that abandoning the Gravekeeper over there separated him away from the team, so he doesn't even have time to heal at this moment. He's also got Wanted Ardor on him as well. This could lead to him being harassed as off the Cypher, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of that pressure out. Unfortunately, Sculptor doesn't quite have full presence yet, but after this rescue, we will certainly see that come into play. We're just a sliver off. Music Man trying to defend this chair. It looks like Barmaid's going to come in for this rescue. Now, Painter here actually ignores half chair, and they can definitely kind of exploit this fact. Take a little bit longer on the rescue. Rescue Painter a little bit after half. We have gotten full presence, though, and with a second chip hit, Barmaid's not going to be able to rescue this.
And getting stuck on the wall there for a second. Very, very unfortunate, but it seems that the Gravekeeper is actually coming in for the rescue. Or just to at least get a little bit of tinnitus to keep her away from the Barmaid just for a second longer. It does seem that the Acrobat was there, but he unfortunately had not made it in time, and we will be seeing the Painter returning to the manor. Now, take note that in this situation, unless the Sculptor here is taking Giant Claw, I believe, the Barmaid has the opportunity to struggle out, and we will be seeing her being placed in the chair, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel like that was definitely a pretty good route. I think, Acrobat taking a statue hit and a second statue hit. We are going to see another stuffed rescue here, potentially, in just a moment. But this chair pressure here is absolutely incredible. Wow.
What a hit. And we will be teleporting right away.
Yup, and Gravekeeper here is, not even going to stand a chance. Caught on the statue rebound. That is a double down here, looking at a second 4-man elimination. And these teams are just staying tied up.
This is absolutely amazing. Just to see the way that Music Man is keeping his cool. Even if all they need is a 1-man elimination or a 1-man out to win, it just goes to show how strong these hunters actually are.
Yeah, seeing Acrobat taking this chase. If Acrobat's able to kite to Dungeon, then this will be, the 1-man escape that they need. But Dungeon is all the way across the map at this time. It's going to be very, very difficult for Acrobat to make it that far. Now, we do not have trait switch here on the Sculptor. We are carrying Confined Space, so we won't be seeing, a Patroller, a Blink coming out here to kind of shorten this end game. But closing in on Acrobat here. Not quite able to land these statues still. Acrobat doing a great job of dodging them. We're going to see a bomb at the ready on the slide. Not quite able to get the Terror Shock either. Acrobat just extending this so well. We see another bomb placed there inside that pallet. Looked like an interaction slowdown bomb there, but Sculptor just ignoring it, heading for these pallets. It really, it is just a matter of time if Acrobat's able to make it to... The coaster is still here. The coaster is still here. We could be seeing the coaster taken all the way across the map here, but unfortunately, that is not going to be the case. And a second 4-man elimination here to tie things up once again.
What amazing match.
And yeah, that really is, that is just point for point for point here with these teams. Just incredible, incredible to watch. And, you know, that is the thing. You can get a four-man elimination as much as you want, but with kind of with these equally matched hunters, the survivor side needs to, kind of overperform in that aspect. It really just comes down to who makes the first mistake.
Right. That was a very uh uh, as um as one of our chatters put, changing targets at that moment was just detrimental to the flow of the game at that time. Because I mean, even if it was just one chip hit on the Gravekeeper, that's um that's just a testament to how the sorry, my train of thought, that match was just so amazing that my train of thought has left the building. Um it's really a testament that Music Man could keep his cool in a situation like that where you only need one man to escape for um I believe AT to progress. It's really really
Yeah, we could be looking honestly at this rate, we could be looking at a round 4.
yeah, and I mean this means that they're tied once again. It's still anyone's game.
It really is. And I mean, as I was saying before, like it comes down to who slips up first. When you
Hmm.
have kind of these teams that have such great hunters, you know, it comes down to which hunter makes the first mistake or which survivors, show out um first. But yeah, I mean, heading into round 3 here, it really is we're evenly matched.
Yep.
But yeah, that was just such incredible sculptor gameplay. I mean, it's a risk. It's a
Hmm.
real risk to chase a rescuer first. But, it paid off beautifully because had no other survivor had Tide Turner. So, even if you get the rescue off, which as soon as you feed the sculptor presence, you end up, not able to get that rescue off. But yeah, just not having any other survivors with Tide Turner there really did make that Gravekeeper first chase count.
And the perfectly timed chip on the barmaid to get the third presence or second presence rather was uh was also very detrimental to stopping that rescue because at that moment I don't think that she had taken into account that um the sculptor was that close to getting final presence. And it really was just a surprise that the second statue had gone and hit her. And uh it kind of it seemed like it threw her off a little bit. It was
Yeah.
really convenient timing, as I like to say it.
Yeah, I mean, once you hit that full presence on the sculptor, it really is just like, oh, suddenly overwhelming force that just comes right
Right.
at you.
It's
And
a
yeah, it
completely
just
different
knocked the
game
survivors
entirely.
off kilter. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, just so it's rare to see a sculptor kind of able to take that much have that much presence here, especially, current day, you don't really see sculpture anymore. But this is something that I love about NAU tournaments specifically is that, you get kind of these wide hunter pools. You get these unconventional picks that you don't normally see in tournament because, you know, everybody here is doing this out of love for the game, not out of, you know, the meta or what's popular, but, you know, you play what you want to play, you have success with what you want to play,
Hmm.
and bringing that to the table is just, you know, infinitely valuable. So yeah, I mean, I I am always like, you know, a little bit sentimental about NAAU, because I do like love the region. But yeah, like I mean, it's always great, you know, to be able to see kind of the strength that we have. But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything is on the table for this third round. With not the survivors, but with both teams tied up the way they are, we're looking at two ties on either side. Now, we do have two hunter bans to contend with this round, as well as we are going to be looking at the global bans, you know, just becoming more and more, um, you know, influential in terms of these survivor picks. I do wonder, though, with, you know, that the barmaid and the gravekeeper, both of those being knocked out here for AT, that can definitely be exploited here because Barmaid and Gravekeeper are both very, very specific counters. They counter Dream Witch, they counter Gamekeeper a little bit, Hermit, they also counter. So we could see that, you know, kind of, and that's the risk of the, um, yeah, it's the risk of, you know, bringing or locking out such specific picks, you know, early on. Now you do have Psychologist can come in to support with the heal.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, she is still on the table, but yeah, I mean, seeing how these teams adapt to a round 3 situation here is going to be very, very interesting.
Means that we're gonna be having a little bit of a lax in the game. Just hang tight, and they'll be here. But um, yeah, I mean, that was quite amazing, and the fact that um we've come back from such a stiff position. It really is. Like as you said, that is the excellence of these players. It's
Yeah, and I mean,
it's
we all are here to have fun at the end of the
yeah.
day. That
At
really
the
is
end of
kind
the
of
day,
the name of the
it's all
game.
about fun.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly, you know, I would be not surprised here if we end up heading into overtime because these teams are just so evenly matched here. Um, you know, having a fully tied score, not just the fully tied score, but we're looking at, you know, 2-2 and then immediately ramping up to 5-0. Most of the time you see this switched. You know, once the
Mm,
hunters get a little bit more, you know, restricted, once the bans come into play, that can get very, very difficult to work around. But, you know, we're really just showing kind of the strength of the hunters on both of these teams being able to kind of adapt and overcome. You know, you ban one survivor or you
exactly.
ban one hunter, cool. I'll bring out my entire rest of my hunter pool. What are you going to do now? You know, it's like how many hunters can you counter comp at once?
Right.
You
And I
can't.
mean, you only get 3 bans in total. So I mean, it's really amazing how fast they're able to adapt to the pace that everybody else is setting.
Mhm. But yeah, heading in here, I you know who we haven't seen that I was expecting a little bit more of?
Hmm.
Mercenary.
You're right. He hasn't even appeared. He hasn't even been mentioned at all this stream.
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's also, you know, it's kind of testament to that nerf. And especially when
Yeah.
you are kind of working with, yeah, I think every hunter that's been picked so far, I guess maybe a little bit less on Naiad. You can kind of run Merc pretty reliably against the Naiad, even though she is a double hit hunter. But Gamekeeper can be a little bit, contentious with a Merc just because of that chip damage coming through. Same with a Sculptor.
Hmm.
Can be a little bit risky for a Mercenary to come out. And Opera Singer as well, Mercenary can definitely rescue against Opera Singer. That's, name of the game. But, if
Hmm.
we look back at the Opera Singer round, we did see that First Officer was actually banned over the Mercenary. That's something that we've been seeing more and more because First Officer is actually a stronger rescuer against Opera Singer than Mercenary, both with, Mercenary's latest nerf, kind of reducing the delayed damage by quite a bit. But, there's not much that Mercenary can do against an Opera Singer. Elbow pads can only do so much when the hunter that you're going against is exclusively a dash hunter. So breaking the distance like that, First Officer does tend to be much more reliable. So I'm not surprised. I'm not as surprised as I could be that we haven't seen Mercenary. Just a hint of Mercenary in the stream, but that does kind of show, you know how much this meta is changing because just a few months ago you would expect the Mercenary, either banned or picked every match, but that's just not the case anymore.
Right. But he has not been banned yet. Therefore, there's still a chance. You may get your
Mhm.
mercenary.
I may get a Mercenary.
Just one.
I wanna, yeah, maybe two, maybe two.
Maybe two. Of course,
But I
Metallic
feel like
Neo has
we can
been banned.
definitely
So.
see. Yeah, we could definitely see the Mercenary coming out here, especially since we did see that Gravekeeper um get globally banned. So we are kind of down a rescuer in that sense. So we
Mhm.
could see that we could see that Mercenary, especially if First Officer's banned again. But I would say I probably know what your answer is going to be. But who are you most hoping to see here?
Well, it may come as a little surprise, but I would really like to see Patient.
Wow, I never could have guessed that.
I would love to see him. He's like my little bug, and I hold him in my hands so gently, and I pat him on the head, and I pat him on the back, and I watch him as he runs off and gets hit by a tram. Speaking of the tram,
King of the trail. Yeah, that'll be coming through in just a moment. So no, well, few spoilers here, but that was perfectly on cue from our ends. Um,
call me Eli Clark the way I see the future.
yeah, we are going to see Ever Sleeping as our map here, but that once again, that really opens the stage for, you know, more and more hunters. Ever Sleeping is a very, very, I would say it's not a hunter sided map. I don't think that's really a thing, but we do definitely see, a much wider kind of viable pool of hunters on Ever Sleeping Town. Hunters that you wouldn't necessarily play on a larger map. We've been seeing these huge map picks. We've been seeing both Lakeside and Moonlit River Park. Ever Sleeping is much smaller, despite the fact that we still play duo hunters on it. It's much smaller than the other two maps. So
Right.
yeah, a lot more, kind of room for these hunters to play when they've already been given a lot of room to play. So yeah, not that there were options remaining, I would say maybe Leo's Memory would have been like a similarly veined map to pick. But you obviously, you don't want to throw your hunter under the bus at the same time as you're trying to kind of mess with the other team's hunter.
Hmm.
So yeah, Ever Sleeping here definitely, it's a very neutral map pick, which I feel like might actually work to the advantage of these teams when they are, deadlocked this way.
Hmm. It seems that we will be having our global bans appear in just a second, but of course, since it is AT that's going to be surviving, and Sky hunting, I believe.
Yep.
We're going to have the Perfumer ban as well as the Seer ban. And newly added, we will be seeing a Barmaid ban as well as a Gravekeeper ban.
And yeah, exactly. And this is kind of playing into what I was saying before. You know, you have kind of these very specific survivors on this global ban list. You have, you know, both your perfumer and your seer have been locked out here for activators. So no access to, you know, I would say the closest equivalent to that's going to be a psychologist.
Mhm.
You know, can still take 3 hits. Mercenary as well, you know, may have a time to shine, with kind of that damage taking ability, but, you know, those are 2 pretty heavy hitters that Guy's Hunter doesn't have to ban. So, you know, I feel like Priestess is probably going to be, you know, coming in for this ban, um, pretty soon, but I mean, she is very, very strong at ever sleeping, but really depends on the hunter pick. I mean, you know, if we have a hunter who's planning to pick, you know, breaking wheel, that priestess band suddenly becomes a lot less, you know, necessary in order to succeed
Mhm.
on this map.
Mhm. Do we know who's going to be hunting this time around?
I would assume, unless otherwise stated, that it is going to be Music Man again, which
Mhm.
I would say here,
And oh,
survivors could probably get away with banning. I would say, in terms of safety, they're going to have to ban Mad Eyes and Sculptor
mhm.
and take a Dream Witch possibly, but, you know, only having 2 Hunter bans here is very, very difficult to kind of make a decision on. But first 2 picks are locked in. We're going to see Psychologist and Priestess. So yeah, we are did we get bans?
I don't believe so, but um, that is very interesting that you were just talking about the priestess ban, and it seems that we're going to be seeing a priestess instead. Oh,
Oh. Oh, okay.
oh, I see. Okay,
I see
there's a
now. Okay,
little bit of
yeah. A little bit
a
of a miscommunication on our end here, but yeah, okay, those are going to be our first 2 bans locked in. So
mhm.
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's more in line with what I was expecting here,
Yeah.
especially with that psychologist being kind of the seer. Um, yeah, that's a little bit more what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
That
that
makes a lot
does, you
more
know,
sense. That makes a lot more
it
sense.
makes yeah, it makes a lot more sense here, but it does kind of, you know, now we open the floor to those survivor picks. I would say here they could get away with locking in a rescuer first.
Mhm.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if they lock in a rescuer first because inevitably, you know, we are going to see you know, Gravekeeper's already banned here. I would say maybe Wildling we could see. We could also see you know, first officer coming through. We could also see mercenary. But yeah, it looks like our bans are going to be all right. Yeah, hunter bans are locked in here. We're going to have Dream Witch and Mad Eyes coming through. Um, yeah, so taking the sculptor again, it's a little interesting here, especially on Ever Sleeping Town. That is a pretty good map for Sculptor. But you know, it's also a good map for Mad Eyes. It's also a good map for Dreamwitch. You have to cut your losses somewhere. And yeah, I would say first officer here then is really going to need to be locked in first because mercenary
Mhm.
is a much more vulnerable rescuer. As we've already seen, you know, that sculptor camp is very, very strong. I would say first officer probably stands the best chance against it just because, you know, using the immunity of the pocket watch, he can get much closer to the chair. Um, I would like to see first officer locked in first here. I think it would be a bold pick, but I think it's they need to make these bold picks on the survivor side to kind of, you know, shake up this tie.
Right. Mm.
But yeah, I mean, the floor is pretty much open here for AT survivors. There's definitely um, quite a few or quite a wide range of survivors that we could see here. So, yeah, I'm very interested to see what we could get locked in here. Once again, we do have Puppeteer still on the table. I mean,
Of course.
we were kind of hoping to see that come through at the beginning. Um, I would say likely not as a first pick here, but definitely possibly something we could see. And for our first two picks here, we're going to have the Antiquarian finally making her appearance here, finally escaping the ban jail, as well as Prospector. So really going heavy on the harassment here.
I know Mima is going to be very happy to see Norton Campbell showing his face here.
Yeah,
Very.
I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen him yet, but I would say that's definitely the kind of pick that activators needs. Something
Mhm.
aggressive, something like this double harassment comp here. Prospector as well is a character that tends to come out when you need, to really kind of push for as many escapes as possible. He is a very strong harasser. He's a pretty strong like distance harasser as well. He comes into a little bit less risk a lot of the time
Mhm.
than an antiquarian can. Antiquarian also plays very close to the hunter. But yeah, I mean both of these survivors are, aggressive picks here. So I'm excited to see what they're capable of.
Right. And that also means that we could be seeing another excitement first trait, which,
Mhm.
again, if you have excitement, you don't have blink. So it's really, really interesting to see that they're going to run the risk of excitement first trait and essentially make their sons meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
I would
But
say oh sorry.
oh, no, you go.
I would say here, I think having the double harasser, even if the hunter brings excitement here, you know, you excitement one stun, you excitement the antiquarian stun. Let's say here comes Prospector with the steel chair right behind. As soon as that
Hmm.
excitement wears off, you have another stunner to contend with. You also have both of these characters can do multiple stuns at a time. So you excitement the antiquarian, she still has stick. You excitement the prospector, he still has magnets.
Hmm.
So there's I would say excitement first here is definitely not out of the question, especially, depending on what else we end up picking here. But it's still, having the double harasser situation does kind of complicate things.
Seems that our next survivor band has been loaded in. It is the first officer, just as you had predicted, Bones. That first officer would not be with us today.
Yep. But that is, why I was hoping for a first officer pick
Mm-hmm.
first, kind of to get that secure rescuer in here.
Mm-hmm.
Mercenary can definitely be picked here, but he is kind of vulnerable to that chip damage. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate that Activators wasn't able to lock in the first officer, before he got banned. But yeah, it is what it is. Having the aggression here still counts very, very much. Um, so yeah, it's not unwelcome to not have the first officer here, but it's still, it is going to be something that they'll have to contend with. And cheerleader is going to be our third pick here. So we're really going heavy on these aggressive kiters. Just
Mm-hmm.
trying to stay as far away from the hunter as possible. As long as you cannot get downed, uh, then you don't have to rescue. So I would say that's
Right,
probably the
exactly.
strategy here that Activators is going for.
You can't hear me. You can't hit me if I'm like 50 yards away. So unless they pull out a hunter that can do that, in which case, I guess I'm Boo Boo the Fool. But this is definitely a very strong kiting composition team. I'm really curious to see if they're going what the last pick is going to be. It could be another kiter. It could be a Dakota, so that they can at least have somebody focusing on the ciphers while they're a lot of them are harassing if they do choose to, go for a very harass heavy strategy. Or it could be a rescuer to, you know, round up all of them in the end.
Yeah, I would say for the last ban here, I wouldn't be surprised if Mercenary gets locked in as that or possibly Wildling, just to kind of continue to avoid those rescuers coming out here. Um, but it is it's risky no matter what. You inevitably someone gets let out, but yeah, it looks like we are going to get that acrobat out here. So not worrying about the possibility of a rescuer other than first officer here,
Hmm.
which is a dangerous sign for the survivors, not being afraid here of the mercenary, that says something. That brings confidence from the hunter.
You're
As
really
soon as
confident that
that
we're gonna get a mercenary.
I see. I don't know if we're going to get a mercenary because the fact that mercenary hasn't been banned means that the hunter's not afraid of a mercenary, or at least is less
that's
afraid of a
that's true.
mercenary than of a first
That's
officer.
true.
Than of yeah.
An
So
acrobat.
it's cycle. Everything about ban picks is psychological warfare. It's very fun.
It really is. Oh, I just peeked into the chat. Oops.
Well, I haven't, so we're going to continue the stream unspoiled. Yeah.
Very sorry.
So it's always interesting, to see kind of how teams, strategize around this. And I mean, the time that it's taking to lock these ban picks in is testament to the amount of thinking that's happening behind the scenes. So yeah, and with that, we are going to see that Mercenary is going to make an appearance here. I
Following
guess we'll
life
just
art.
see how that goes. It really is, I would say playing into expectations a little bit,
Mm,
but Mercenary is still Mercenary. Mercenary still takes a significant amount of time to get down, still has those elbow pads. Um, I would say here, there's a little bit less help. You don't have barmaid, you don't have psychologist to help with the healing. Um, but you do have cheerleader who can run support. You have the support of the antiquarian as well as the prospector. These
mm,
survivors are very, very difficult to chase. And that's definitely AT strategies coming into this. They don't they want to make the chase as difficult as possible to avoid, getting clobbered on
right.
the rescue.
And it is worth noting that even mercenary, even their rescuer is hard to chase. Uh it's showing that they really just don't want to be caught. Like they're relying very heavily on whoever gets first chase and whoever rebound
Hmm.
kites. We also have our persona trees here. We have processor running borrow time as well as broken windows, antiquarian running borrow time as well as flywheel. Cheerleader will also be running borrow time and broken windows, and of course, mercenary is going to be running borrow time and tide turner. They're not in nowhere yet. They don't know the strengths of broken windows mercenary like I do.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's very typical here to bring Tide Turner here on that mercenary. I'm not surprised here. I mean, I would say the best candidate here to bring Tide Turner as a secondary would be cheerleader. But I'm not surprised that we're not going with double Tide Turner. Flywheel on the antiquarian as well is very, very strong for harassment. As I was
Hmm.
saying before, we have kind of that close range harassment going on. I'm a little bit surprised that no flywheel on the prospector. I would say they're probably going to try and run him as a little bit more of a chase, as
Hmm.
a kiter. But yeah, I mean, it's very it's a very strong comp here, but if the hunter can exploit the vulnerabilities within it, and yeah, we are going to see a wax artist lock here. Wax artist very, very strong on Ever Sleeping Town. And also I was thinking about wax artist earlier. I didn't say anything. I should have said something. But with that double stun, you can bring excitement, but kind of to counter the repeated stun capability of these characters, wax artist does have a passive stun resistance. He does,
Hmm.
kind of emit wax every time he gets stunned. So that can be huge to really, kind of hinder the kites of these survivors. I mean, cheerleader especially is definitely going to be at a risk because the only thing she can do is run fast. If she runs fast in an open area, wax
Hmm.
immediately.
It seems that my previous statement of "you can't catch me if I'm 50 yards away" has been countered with "you can't kite if you're stunned." So,
Yeah.
let's.
It's like have fun running away as fast as you possibly can when you cannot move.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see, how this wax starter stands. But right now, once again, we are at two ties. We are deadlocked here between activators and Sky. So once again, it's really, really up to these teams to kind of just bring their all. 3 rounds in, still needing to bring their all. Um, and just make a dent in this score right now because at this rate if we end up with a tie situation here once again we will be heading into overtime and that is where things get very very tricky. So
Mhm.
yeah, if we're able to tie this up, or if we're able to break the tie here, that will be huge here for both teams.
Mm. Oh, I just noticed the little poll. That's very cute. Uh, Remember to show your support for both teams in chat. Uh, very, 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 very interesting matches that we're having here today, and also, uh, very talented teams just in general. Like these guys are insane. Like I'm actually floored going to this knowing nothing uh having no personal experience with either team. Uh, I'm amazed at what they've pulled off, and I'm genuinely shocked at most of like how well put together they are, as well as them being able to keep such calm demeanors. It seems like nothing is shaking them at all. It seems like they're keeping such cool heads in the face of like being in really really tough situations, and it's really a testament to just how professional these teams are.
Yeah, and I mean that is half the battle, not caving to kind of the pressure of the tournament.
Hmm.
That because that is the biggest battle. Aside from band picks, aside from just playing itself, it's not a rank match. There's a lot more strategy that goes into tournament gameplay than, just playing. So yeah, I mean it's always very exciting to see. Um I've been commentating for kind of independent tournaments for the past year. I think like very slightly over a year. I'm kind of on my year anniversary. So I mean the amount of growth because Sky and Activators were actually some of the first teams that I watched. Um so yeah, I mean, being able to see their growth, being able to, kind of commentate for them repeatedly, it's a very fun experience. I mean, and I'm glad to have you here for like basically your first commentating experience because
Hmm.
this is where it starts.
Yep, it's very interesting how we both have our start with Sky and AT.
Yeah, I don't actually remember the very first match that I commentated for, but I do know that like, these were some of the teams that really stood out to me at the start. Just, sheer force of will really and having
Right.
such strong hunter sides um have been, just so so much fun to kind of watch evolve.
Hmm. Oh, that's right.
But yeah, we should be heading into things shortly here. Once again, we are completely deadlocked here for the score. So Yeah, I mean, really anything can happen when we're coming into this match. But yeah, looks like we will be heading into things now. We've got Wax Artist here for round 3. Hunting for Sky. Yeah, it looks like we've got Mercenary spawning in the middle here, Cheerleader spawning towards the exit gate. We've got Antiquarian at Fake Gate, and we have Prospector over at the Graveyard exit gate. So we're looking, a very, very close spawn formation here. We've got Wax Artist spawning in the lower corner of the map. Really, we can go for any target here. I would say probably, if we're able to kind of maneuver around and reach, someone like, I would say Mercenary is going to be a little bit risky to go for first, but we did see Gravekeeper take that first chase last time, so it's definitely not out of the question. But yeah, once again, thank you all for coming here. Thank you all for watching and listening, and supporting us, supporting the teams. And yeah, heading into first half of round 3 between Sky and Activators. While we
We
are,
will
once again, still very tied up.
we will actually be seeing a pause
Oh,
for right now. Seems there's a little bit of a miscommunication, but it will be taken care of. Hopefully swiftly.
yeah, looks like there was an issue here with a little bit of the persona selection, I believe. So yeah, we will be taking care of that once again shortly. It happens, a lot of the times these teams will you know, lock in kind of as the wrong thing, not have the persona web already built.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean it happens, but yeah, we'll have that turned around as soon as possible. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for bearing with us. And hopefully I am not too repetitive to listen to. But yeah, we should see the surrender and reset come through shortly. But in the meantime, I mean, yeah, I would say for this comp, I mean, it really is just a matter of how good this first chase is, regardless of the survivor. Um, Antiquarian, I would say, you know, the issue here with Antiquarian is that she does need to be very, very close range, which means that there's really is kind of no avoiding the Wax Artist passive skill to uh resist the stun. So I would say Music Man can definitely kind of use an Antiquarian chase to his advantage. And kind of work around that Wax formation. But I mean, I still really would not be surprised to see Mercenary take this first chase. We have, kind of going off the last match, we've seen that happening before, kind of targeting the Rescuer first. But yeah, Surrender going through there. This will not, of course, be a 4-man escape for AT. We will be resetting shortly and getting back into things as soon as possible. So yeah, again, thank you guys for bearing with us as we make sure that, and it's a matter of making sure that everything's running as well as it can be. So, pauses can be frustrating to sit through, but I mean, I would rather sit through a pause than, something goes wrong.
Right. I would rather have a little bit of extra time with us, just talking nonsense than having somebody not able to perform to their best ability. Which it's really interesting going back on what you said about the Antiquarian. Similarly, Prospector has the same issue if he pulls toward. You really just can't avoid getting the wax on you if you do go for a stun. However, repelling, he does stand a chance, but it's really interesting when you think about it like that. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's everything is very kind of push and pull. It's a little bit like I would say like characters like Aeroplanist, Patient, Mercenary against something like a Geisha.
Hmm.
Technically, either counters or who butterflies
Hmm.
first, who elbow pads first. If they can keep distance away from Wax Artist, that's going to be huge. And you do have Cheerleader, you do have Mercenary. Both of those survivors can, kind of utilize the sort of corners that Ever Sleeping Town has in order to avoid the wax. Now, that requires not getting stuck in the middle of one of the open areas because there's corners on Ever Sleeping Town, but there's also straight lines. Those straight line areas are, kind of invitations for the wax, which is why Wax Artist is so strong on this map. But, if they're able to kind of, outrun the Wax Artist here, and a lot of that is going to come down to rotation. So
Hmm.
if they're able to kind of get out of the way of the Wax Artist as soon as possible, they did spawn very, very close to the Wax Artist. So that, it is going to be a little bit difficult to move out of the way. But heading back into things, sorry, that caught me off guard. I wasn't able to see. But yeah, we're heading right back into it. We're going to see Antiquarian taking the first chase here in the first half of round 3. And yeah, this is exactly what I was saying. Getting a good amount of distance here, but not quite. It doesn't look like we're using the Antiquarian speed boost here just yet. Saving the stick for the stun. That's going to be our first stun coming through. But with the disarm here, Antiquarian is going to be able to continue this chase. And a beautiful vault just to keep, once again, we're keeping the walls in the way. And a beautiful hit through that pallet is going to kind of knock a damper in that momentum. But what a strong start to this match.
Also, I don't know if you can see it, but our prediction of the Excitement first trait has been proven wrong. We are seeing a Teleport first trait as well as I'm sorry, is that Detention only?
Yeah, it looks like we're going with detention only, which is honestly not too bad here. I would say that those points are definitely allocated in other areas, such as Giant Claw, Stun Resistance as well could definitely be coming in. We're going to switch over to Cheerleader here, which, once again, it really is it's a test of whether or not Cheerleader can outrun the Wax Artist. Heading into this covered area here, we're going to see a little bit of wax here. Once again, Cheerleader is going to activate the dash. But are we going to be able to use these pallets to hide? It looks like Cheerleader is going to get waxed off here and hit. Yes, pallet was able to get broken in time. And Cheerleader is going to continue this chase into the corner house.
Take note, she no longer has any dashes for now, but she does have her broken windows, or rather, yeah, broken windows is the one that you broken window. Knee jerk is the pallet.
Yeah, but she has both.
She has both. And she does have one remaining motivate right now. Looking pretty good distance right now.
Yeah, really, really keeping up this chase, conserving that movement here because, survivors do move fast. And yeah, just having just a great loop setup here in the corner house, just staying away from this wax. 3 ciphers remaining here. A little bit of trying to get that trick with the camera, but Cheerleader is not even in the corner house anymore. He's completely transitioned away, just out of the way of Wax Artist. Staying out of the line of visibility here is so important. And we're seeing already, just this huge amount of distance that Cheerleader has been able to pull. We're going to see, it looks like Prospector laying in wait here, trying to get the stun on the corner. It does look like Wax Artist was able to pick up that stun, but Prospector not quite close enough just yet to really make that magnet count. We're going to see Cheerleader with quite a bit of wax on, getting stuck in this area, but we are going to have the cheer coming in play. Oh, and a pause coming through here once again. Yeah, I'm not sure if we are going to pause the match. I think we may just let it run. Okay, yeah, we are going to let the match continue to run here, and Cheerleader is going to see first chair, but 1 cipher remaining here. I would
Definitely.
say we're putting pressure into a, I would say, draw situation at best here for Wax Artist, unless we have some crazy cipher pressure going on, which is definitely doable with Wax Artist.
Yeah, especially
Nice job on
we
that
just saw
stun.
the locking off of the cipher. Ooh, barely avoiding the trade there.
Wow, that was
That was
very close to being
very
a tram
close.
moment. Seeing the kind of the headlight come through there. But Antiquarian taking a
Ooh.
hit there, not quite coming out with the flywheel yet, but using the stick once again here, we are going to see quite a long disarm and avoidance stun once again. This is just absolutely incredible work here from this Antiquarian. And just continuing this chase, yeah, we're going to lock off the Cypher once again, but you know, it's only a matter of time here. We're going to have Antiquarian down. They have not been able to prime another Cypher yet, but it looks like two of them are hard at work on that center Cypher. It is close enough for Wax Artist to wax off, though. You know, we're not quite Cypher locked here, but we're definitely in a position where the two Cyphers that have the most progress on them are very close to the chair.
I don't think he's able to hit the one that's up on two-story, but it is still a very sticky situation to be in, especially when you're so close to the gate as well. It seems that they're going to be going for a double rescue. Oh,
Yeah, just trying to keep Antiquarian alive as long as possible. Coming in with the double body block here. Prospector taking the hit. Cypher is not yet primed. Looks like we're almost there. Very close to that Cypher prime, but with three survivors just rallying here, looking for the down before the Cypher pops, but no! Prospector getting right back up again. We have a 4-man endgame on our hands. This is exactly the momentum that Activators needed coming into this round. And we are seeing them deliver tenfold.
and we will be probably seeing the... Oh, he actually psyched out the tram. He didn't actually get on. Seems that we're going to be chasing the Antiquarian once again. And... Oh! Teleporting to the other gate as it has more survivors. But, oh. This is definitely the tempo that puts a little bit of stress on both sides because, again, it's not over until it's over. But, oh!
Yeah, beautiful work there on that magnet. Just
magnet-
getting right out of that stun. Unfortunately, you know, still within range of the basic hit, but 3 survivors are at the gate. That gate is almost open. Unfortunately, we do not have teleport online, so this is going to be a 3-man escape here.
What a match. I just want to point out the wax, the Norton rather, getting waxed, and the magnet coming in to save him at just the right moment to knock him out of the wax. That was quite amazing.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible work there. From the survivor side, that was absolutely, you know, what they needed to kind of setting the tone here for this for this third round. My bad. Once again, you know, we we're deadlocked. Still. If we're able to get a 3-man escape or a 3-man, yeah, if we're able to get a 3-man escape in the next match, you know, that's still a tie heading into overtime. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looks like we are working out some things on our end, so the exact results will be slightly varied. But in the meantime, I mean, yeah, that was just absolutely incredible teamwork there. Especially, you
Really
know,
was. The
Wax Artist is kind of at home on Ever Sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Especially since there's so much open area that he can shoot his wax across. He can lock pretty much any cipher from any distance. Uh, just given how open the middle of the map is, the way that the pallets, the windows, they're all so close together. He can honestly lock off pretty much anything, any kite route that you may come up with. He uh Sorry, I got sidetracked. He really is strong on that map. That is a very strong map for him. It's really interesting how they fought against him.
Yeah, it was just the rotation there
Mhm.
was so good. You know, forcing Antiquarian to take that first chase, or just going for Antiquarian in the first place, kind of, you know, the control that Antiquarian had over that kite.
Mhm. It was really it was also really interesting that I noticed that when she was close to getting the full wax, she used her stick to put the wax on herself and make
Exactly.
it so that the even if she did get waxed and if she was stunned for just a little bit, the wax artist couldn't do anything about it. It was really a testament to just how good and how her game sense is, how well her game sense came into play at that moment. And the of course the cheerleader using her cheers at just the right times was also really another display of just how uh aware she was, like, of how uh how she needed to utilize her boosts. And of course the prospector assisting the kite and the rescues.
Yeah.
Actually, he was assisting the rescues. He was there for both.
Yeah, no, he was absolutely. That's exactly what I was saying, you know, before the match happened, where Prospector does tend to be, you know, kind of that support character.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you can pull through with that teammate support. All of those survivors, you know, really just came together where it counted. And, you know, communication is exactly what I've been, you know, emphasizing this whole time.
Hmm.
They pulled through. They really, you know, they came together, they coordinated, and just, you know, they made it happen where it counted. So yeah, just such, you know, great matches overall today in general. But you know, it's always fun to see, you know, after such a hunter heavy kind of bracket,
Hmm.
seeing the survivors really sort of pull it out, which is not something that I say very often. So yeah. All right, yeah, but in the meantime here, yeah, it does look like um yeah, we're working out some behind the scenes stuff at the moment. But we should be updated on that sooner or later. But I would say, you know, aside from patient, let's say, aside from patient, um what other, I would say, survivors, hunters are you, you know, possibly looking
Hmm.
forward to seeing?
What hunters do I like seeing? Well, I do appreciate a good Itaka sometimes. I like him.
It's
I
been
think
a
he's.
while.
I'm really surprised that we haven't seen him yet. I genuinely am surprised that we haven't seen him yet.
He's kind
It's
of
like
fallen down, like
he really
very,
has.
very fallen down.
Admittedly, admittedly, he has tapered off. The initial hype for him has worn down. Even in Koa, I don't think I saw him very often. But
He's
yeah.
been picked semi, you know, he's picked occasionally on, you know, maps like Chinatown, maps like Ever Sleeping. He does tend to get picked on. We have seen there was actually a Night Watch match semi recently in Koa where it was a 4-man
Oh,
elimination, kind of against all odds on Lakeside of all places. But
wow.
it really does come down to, you know, at this point, Night Watch is much less of a hunter that you can kind of get immediately. And it
Mm-hmm.
really was, you know, the nerf where they took his dash down that was where he kind of just plummeted off of the meta because you see Night Watches now. Formerly, the dash capability of the Night Watch was huge. You could traverse a map in instants
Mm-hmm.
if you had a fully charged dash. But we're seeing now, end game Chinatown, Hunter Chairs in basically the middle of the map has two dashes remaining. Formerly, that would have taken you almost all the way to the gate. But in this, post nerf kind of state, we're seeing Night Watch is not even be able to make it halfway to the gate before it's open, and 2, 3 survivors escape. So Night Watch can be a dedicated tie hunter. Really, what makes a meta hunter right now is their capability to tie.
Mm-hmm.
So having Opera Singer pretty reliable as long as the hunter knows what's going on with the Opera Singer. Um, she's despite her nerfs she's still stayed at the top of the meta, but we have seen especially in tournament, because survivors are getting so used to going against the Opera Singer. This is something that doesn't really translate into um independent tournaments because a lot of these survivors and a lot of these hunters as well primarily play rank. They're not playing in tournament settings, which means that Opera Singer's banned.
Mm-hmm.
um well, that's we don't have the shadow yet, but that's banned. But dealing with the innate bans of rank is much different from a tournament setting because we're seeing Opera Singer not get banned, we're seeing Opera Singer not get picked. It's it's very, very up in the air, and especially now that Opera Singer has been nerfed, it's much harder for her to get picked up by
Mm-hmm.
a new hunter. She does she's very, very difficult to play.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, it is, it's interesting to see kind of who comes in and out of the meta. We've seen Gamekeeper kind of see this huge boost in the meta recently
Mm-hmm.
because there's a niche to fill that's needed. They need, a hunter that can traverse the map very quickly, especially during endgame. Gamekeeper has infinite hook. That's kind of, it's budget Opera Singer
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. But in the same vein, you see hunters that, are used to playing Opera Singer. They pick up Gamekeeper in order to have kind of that capability, but they play Gamekeeper like they play Opera Singer, and it just doesn't pan out the way that it theoretically should. And that's something that's been happening in Call of the Abyss lately. Um, but you know, just a few months ago, Night Watch was meta. Just a few months ago, we were seeing Clown get 4-man eliminations. Now Clown is getting 4-man escaped
Right.
from the exact same hunters, but the addition of Aeroplanus, the addition of Cheerleader, presumably the addition of Puppeteer, although he is kind of a professor like character. Um
I feel like the more that we mention the name puppeteer, the more likely that he's gonna appear. It's like Beetlejuice, you know?
we're manifesting.
Matthias, Matthias, Matthias.
I would like to see a Puppeteer at least at some point in the tournament. I really want to
It doesn't
see,
have to be today, of course, but like I
it
really
doesn't
do
have
want
to
to
be
see the
today.
way that they they that these teams utilize him. Just because I haven't particularly seen much of his gameplay other than Mian play him, and she is absolutely wonderful at him. Shout out to Mian. But um, it's really interesting uh, to that he has not been pulled out yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's partially because, he is kind of very he's a little bit risky to pull out, especially, in a tournament where you automatically have spawn selection, who you're going to
Mhm.
who you're going to go against, who you're going to chase. You don't have to chase Puppeteer first. And that's Puppeteer excels at a first chase because, you spend all of this time not being able to hit him. And now this can also, be taken advantage of by teams with spawn selections, with survivor rotation. If they're able to rotate Puppeteer, in the way of that first chase, immediately, you end up with kind of a boost in that area because the hunter has no choice but to chase Puppeteer. Puppeteer is the only survivor that they can see.
Mhm.
Then you know, puppeteer has to be the first chase. And you waste so much time, waiting out the puppet, trying to cancel the puppet, eating the hit. You do get presence. I think that's the one thing that I like about puppeteer over something like a professor. You get more time in the shield, but it does grant presence. Um, but yeah, I mean, any survivor that can waste time is a survivor that is inevitably going to be picked at some point in tournament, because the most valuable thing you can do in a tournament is waste time. That's why, I mean, calling back to the beginning, with the Sky Survivors versus Polaris's Naiad, what won them that match was wasting time, was waiting out.
Hmm.
Obviously we're in a bad situation right now. There's two survivor, there's survivor in the chair, there's survivor down. All of us are around the chair. Wait, regroup, distance, heal up, and, re-coordinate yourselves. Waste that time, force Polaris to just overextend, drag him out around the map,
Hmm.
and you that's how you get success. That's how you can push, even an impossible situation into a draw. But yeah, I mean, I hope that we see Puppeteer at some point for that reason, because I think that, like, with the right communication, then Puppeteer can be very, very successful.
Hmm.
But, I would say there is a risk. There's definitely, a risk with taking the Puppeteer.
There's the risk that comes
But
with if he is, brought up to his maximum potential of Lewis and he has half damage in a chip, you can't heal him. He can't be healed. He's like
right.
that for the rest
Yeah.
of the game. And until somebody else needs to be healed, and even then it takes forever to do so.
Yeah,
So
his healing debuffs are pretty, drastic. But
mhm.
I mean, does Barmaid count
Barmaid can
or,
help.
or, or heal him? Barmaid and psychologist, right?
Yep, it's Barmaid and Psychologist. And I this is just from what I've seen, but people have been healing each other to almost like 99, going rescue him and then making him heal them as they get off the chair so that he can take the extra hit and they're healed now. So
Hmm.
it's really interesting to see the strategy that builds around a character like that and how they adapt to it. Other than Puppeteer, of course, and of course, the Gamekeeper, that the monkey's paw definitely did curl for you. For what other characters would you like to see in this tournament, Bones?
Not to be controversial, but I would love to see a lizard.
I should have known.
I would love to see a lizard, as long as it's not a random lizard pick. But personally, I mean, I think that lizard could definitely succeed here on Ever Sleeping.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of, I don't know if some of my friends are still in the chat, but I mean, I've definitely pulled off some pretty crazy things, being able to jump into the center house, being able to jump inside the windows.
Hmm.
That's any map with with levels is very, very good for Lizard. Not so much Moonlit, because there is kind of the center of the map to contend with, but Leo's memory is very strong for Lizard. Ever Sleeping Town is very strong for Lizard. Chinatown is very strong for Lizard. I would support a Lizard pick on this map. It does come with a lot of risk. He doesn't have the best kit, especially in early game. It takes a lot of kind of precision to really work with a Lizard.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to see a Hunter Lizard pick coming out here. I'm glad to finally see other people on board with my lizarding. I have been advocating for lizard for years. I have played him since I think I started in, like, yeah, November 2020 was when I started playing lizard, and I've been grinding um ever since then. I had an A badge for a while. I haven't, like, maintained it because I'm busy. But like, yeah, I mean, I the recent rework was less of a buff and more of a, quality of life improvement, I would say.
Mhm.
Um there's definitely been, talks of Lizard being like meta because of his map control potential at max presence. I would say maybe not. Maybe not like a hard meta pick, but I mean, there's a lot of versatility that you can get out of a Lizard. That's my lizard spiel, which I said that I wasn't going to do. But I ended up doing. But yeah, like exactly. Lizard made since release in the chat here. I feel like that's the thing with Lizard 2 is that everybody who plays him has been like, legacy playing. Like the leaderboards are very, very consistent for the Lizard.
He has some very devoted followers as that I've heard of. He really his fan base is as as small compared to other hunters. It's not that's not an insult. It's it's very admirable that they're all so devoted to him.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I feel like at a certain point, it becomes a labor of love.
Mhm.
Because like, until this year, he was a terrible hunter. Like, I played Lizard for like, 3 years buffless, pretty much. Apart from like the area of effect buff, which again, quality of life improvement. I
Mhm.
can't believe that there was, a day and age that I was an A badge for Lizard and the crash would only hit one person at a time. But like it's once you dedicate yourself to a hunter that hard, um it is a bingo card. It is a bingo
Mhm.
card. I'm sorry. I think I mentioned this at like the start of the stream that like, it's tracked when I count when I talk about Lizard.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there we go for everybody who's paying attention to that one. But yeah, I mean, I for other hunters that I'd like to see, Hermit's a risk. Hermit's a definitive risk, but Eversleeping's not a bad map for Hermit. And I do enjoy seeing a good Hermit. Now Hermit is directly countered by four-man VC. That's kind of the biggest Hermit counter that exists. So
Mhm.
bringing Hermit into a tournament can be very, very risky. But we have seen we've seen the strength of survivor communication, but we've also seen survivor communication break down in some pretty catastrophic ways over the course of these last few rounds. So, you know, anything can happen with, if you bring out a hunter that really relies on that team communication and that team coordination. Obviously you can, have what happened last match happen where, you end up getting three-manned, four-manned even, but kind of taking shots at that ability to communicate would be very,
Mhm.
very interesting.
Oh, Axe Boy pick. That would also be very, very sweet. I do enjoy Robbie gameplay. I think he's so fun and so interesting to watch just to see like how the thought process of you know when you're gonna use your little restful road, when you're gonna put your trees down, when you're gonna take the shot and try to use your flare thingy. um I come from an age where Robbie's soul would come to him, but it would also shoot out of him as well. So
Really?
yeah, I've been playing for that long.
Oh,
It was
wow.
it was definitely a time because it was not just dodging that, it was also getting uh far enough from him so that it wouldn't hit you immediately after shot out of him. So that was
Wow.
definitely an interesting time. I remember there was this one match that I had as him on Lakeside where I absolutely obliterated somebody with the the recoil, I suppose you could call it. And it was quite funny. It was like
Did it
it
like
was
go back and forth on the like string?
It was okay, so you would pull it towards you and
I've been playing since like around Painter release ish.
mhm,
So yeah, I missed that. I missed that era.
you could pull it towards you and after it would come to you, if it didn't hit the survivor, you could then shoot it out of yourself and aim it with the camera. So
Oh,
it was like an
I
extra
see why
layer.
they nerfed that, but that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was two things that you had to dodge. It was very, very difficult to go against
Yeah.
Robbie in that climate. He was very strong back then. But in order to kind of balance it out after getting rid of something so I mean, admittedly that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy that they would allow that.
Yeah.
To balance it out, once they removed that, they added the slowdown that you get once he has his presence, and they also added the. I think. I don't think that the spirits used to follow you. I think that's new, but I might be wrong. It was
The spirits, like the
yeah. When you leave the zone
I'm
and like the
blanking on the name
spirits
for
start
it, but
following
like
you,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they used to do that. I think it was only that he could use the the souls when he was in the area, which would it is problematic in and of itself because it's kind of like well, if you have no branches to put your trees down, then you can't do anything. But it also like kept you on your toes, like, oh, I need to go get another branch so that I can not have to deal with this. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
I could be entirely incorrect on that, however. But that's how I remember it. And I also come from a time where first officer used to make the every survivor that's around him turn into himself. That was very interesting.
Oh, wow.
However, I was
Yeah.
not
I
around for the
was
initial release of him where he would make the hunter's screen go black. Why did they think that
What?
was right? He used to do that.
Oh my god. I mean, to be fair, I guess like that is kind of thief-ish,
Mhm.
but wow. Yeah, I was not around for that iteration of First Officer. I was around for the pre-rework First Officer, and I actually, funnily enough, I was going through. I don't remember what I was looking for. I was looking for old messages about something, but I was going through like old messages, and I found like record of myself from when um First Officer had first gotten reworked, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, they completely broke him. Like he's gonna be meta. He's gonna be everywhere." And then that didn't happen for like another year. Like no one caught on to First Officer being meta. Like the moment that he kind of got reworked and had like the three shakes of the watch instead of just one.
Mhm.
Um, people didn't catch on right away, but I like found a record of myself like saying that he was gonna be meta, and I just thought that was so funny because it was like I was like, "Wow." I had no idea that I had, like, predicted that because I had been a First Officer main at the time too,
Mhm.
or I had, like, just stopped playing First Officer. I had moved on to Mercenary at that point, but I was like, "Oh my god." Like, they
I
just
was
broke him. They just made the best rescuer in the game.
he used to be the best rescuer in the game. I mean, making the hunter it was like it wasn't that the hunter's screen would go black for like 3 seconds. It was literally just like half a second the hunter would blink and close their eyes. That's what would happen. It was like a little animation of the hunter closing their eyes and it would black out the screen. And then suddenly every survivor around you was first officer. And then they removed the blinking animation. And so it was just he would shake his watch and then all the survivors around you would be the first officer and now he can
Wow.
only do that if he rescues them. So it's really
Yeah, I
funny
mean,
how it
yeah.
progressed.
Once again, I would say that's a warranted nerf, but yeah. I love game evolution. But yeah, heading into second half here of round 3, we're going to have once again our global bands back up on the screen for you all. We've got Priestess, Coordinator, Forward, and Psychologist off the table for this round. We will not be seeing them for better or for worse. And it looks like our Hunter bands are in as well. That is Opera Singer and Clerk.
Yep, that's Clark.
I have a small
So
screen.
unfortunate. She'll get her time. She'll get her time.
Yeah.
We're also gonna be playing on Leo's. No, that's not Leo's. That's Ours Factory. That's what it is.
Are we? All right, yeah, I would say that we're probably still in Ever Sleeping Town. Um, but
They were talking about a map change, so I'm not too sure if they're actually going to. Oh, it seems like we are going to be on Ever Sleeping Town, thankfully.
okay, yeah. Yeah, still Ever Sleeping Town here, still second half of round 3. And yeah, Lawyer is going to be our first pick. We gotta, or is Lawyer gonna be our ban, actually? I'm gonna assume that this is Lawyer ban, and that we've got Toy Merchant also up on the ban screen. Or, okay, looks like we're actually going to be banning Cowboy here. That feels personal.
That does feel very personal.
That feels very personal here.
Goodbye, Kevin. It seems that everything's in order, so we will be seeing a lawyer, and we also will be seeing a female dancer. Okay, female, let's see how you dance.
Wha-
It's my
Yeah,
favorite
I
thing
mean,
to say.
personally, I am very excited to see the dancer coming out here, especially on Ever Sleeping Town. Um, yeah, just such a strong kiter. She can place, 3 boxes in the center of the map. You're set. You're done. We're
Mm,
going to have Aeroplanus locked in as another band here, not wanting to see him come out and kind of bring in those jetpacks into play. And Batter here as our third pick. Not something that we've seen yet, but definitely a very, very welcome presence. Batter here can be very strong on Ever Sleeping Town. We've seen, a lot of success here from the Batter. Um, just like, the ability to kind of recycle that stun can be so helpful here. I'm very excited to see that Batter. We're gonna have
mm,
Mercenary as our final ban, and like clockwork, we've got First Officer here waving those flags, very proud. Um,
so
all
handsome.
that talk about the First Officer, I feel like we did in fact summon him this time.
Now, can't we do that for Matthias?
Unfortunately, I would say maybe next time. Maybe next time um on our puppeteer. But with that, we're going to have a Naiad coming back once again here from AT. So yeah, a little bit of a kind of a cap on things, so to speak. We started AT with that Naiad pick. Now once again, we're returning to Naiad here to settle things uh here at the end. So yeah, very exciting to see, I would say, the Naiad again. I feel like First Officer here specifically, I want to see how that rescues,
Hmm.
because we did see kind of the power of the Naiad camp. If that can stand against the First Officer, I guess that's my biggest question heading into this match.
Especially on Ever Sleeping, when, like I said before, there's so much open area in the middle that you really can just water off such large areas at a time.
Yeah, and especially on Ever Sleeping Town, you have it's kind of the same as the Wax Artist here. We've got, all straight lines. You can throw your harpoon basically anywhere on the map and just water off huge areas.
Hmm. I just keep watching Jose dancing with the flags. It's quite funny.
Yeah, his birthday emote there is very
It's
entertaining.
it's it's really hypnotic in theme with his character. It's
Wow,
really
yeah,
hypnotic.
I was gonna say he's getting you. You're
That's how he
falling into
gets
his
you.
trap. Yeah.
That's how he gets you.
But yeah, we do want to apologize for the delay. I know that was, a lot of time where I was just yapping. But yeah. We are back on track here. Unfortunately, we did have to issue a penalty here. So win conditions here are a little bit different than they would be otherwise. Right now, as it stands, if Sky is able to 3-man escape here, they will win. It will not be a tie situation into overtime. So yeah, that is all right, yeah. So it looks like wind conditions here going over the paperwork. We've got yeah, right now, 4 escape or a 3 escape for Sky is a win condition. Any lower than that is immediately going to be a loss, and AT will win. So AT needs a draw to win here. Sky does need a 3 escape on the Survivor side in order to win. So that is our win conditions here. And yeah, we will be proceeding otherwise as normal.
We also have our persona tree picks as well. We have first officer. Everybody is running borrowed time, unfortunately for me. I am a
You,
I'm a
you and
3.
Mian love those no borrowed time picks.
It's just we're knowers, you know? We just know. We have first officer bringing Tide, dancer is bringing broken windows, batter will be bringing flywheel, and lawyer will also be bringing broken windows. Seems like a very kite heavy team. It seems like they're going to rely mostly on the first officer to be doing the rescues, which, I mean, you gotta show your love for your rescuers. You gotta.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, I would say this is a very, very strong comp. I'm especially excited to see that batter against a Naiad. You know, you have a Dash Hunter here. Immediately, you know, you also have that Naiad coming in. With, you know, you knock her out of the dash, waste the dash.
Mm-hmm.
You can knock her out of pulling the harpoon back into place. You know, there's so much that you can really kind of harness that, you know, it's I'm very excited to see, you know, if that batter, and yeah, we are going to see BT here on the batter. So yeah, I'm very excited to see kind of what this batter is able to accomplish here in this match.
Sorry, I was just looking at Light Yagami for a second there.
Yeah, you're good. Heading into the match, though, yeah, it looks like we're going to have first officer in the middle here, kind of acting as bait. We've got batter over at the fake gate. Dancer over in the center house here, definitely ready to set up those boxes for some support. And we've got Lawyer up near the graveyard, not wanting to be chased right away, definitely wants to focus on that decoding. With this spawn, we can definitely go for batter here. I would say it's a little bit of a risk. We could also go for Dancer. Dancer, I think, is a little bit vulnerable here just because she is primarily a tight kiter. As soon as Naiad waters off the area, there's no more tight kiting. So, yeah.
So definitely
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely very I'm very excited to see kind of how this closes out. Yeah, no overtime conditions here. Once again, we will be 3-man escape here is going to mean Sky takes the win. Any lower result, 3-man or 4-man escape here is going to be a win for Sky. Any other result here will be a win for AT. So, you know, stakes have not been higher tonight than they are right now, and we are going to get things started. Thank you all for bearing with us as well.
We'll be seeing batter as our first chase, with a really interesting kite pattern. He completely ignored those 2 pallets over there, considering that the Naiad's harpoon had just been thrown. So it's probably to avoid, you know, getting caught in the water there. He's really keeping a good amount of distance, actually.
Yeah,
despite
right now it's
the Naiads such close proximity, and also using his balls at such a very integral times.
Yeah, just very, very effective here with the batter so far. Just avoiding the water and nicely done with that stun. Unfortunately, that is going to leave us without anything to work with other than, of course, Flywheel, which is online here. We have not taken hit just yet. There is the flywheel coming into play. Batter can circle back, or at least attempt to circle back. There is 1 ball remaining on the field. It looks like that is where we're kind of trying to get, but definitely very, very risky to be kiting a Naiad this close. We do have Blink online that will definitely be showing its face sooner or later here. But with the slow box, we're actually going to go ahead and try to water off the area. And nicely done for a clean down there. That, yeah, just absolutely beautiful work there. smooth with the water, smooth with the blink hit. Just no time and no more resources for Batter to react with either. A Cypher was popped though in that time, so we're looking fairly good on that Cypher progress here. But yeah, just nicely done.
We obviously we've seen the first officer coming into the rescue, but it seems like he was spotted a little bit before, and he does have a good
Ooh.
amount of water on him. So this is going to prove to be a little bit of a difficult situation for him. It's
Oh, just
Wonderful.
barely avoiding taking the hit there, but unfortunately, Batter is going to go down once Tide Turner is through. Naiad looking for the double down here. Oh, and just missing out for the first officer there. That is going to be a double down situation here. Just the overwhelming pressure of I'm honestly a little bit surprised that she wasn't banned coming into this round because, you know, we've seen the pressure here before, and when you need a 3-man escape, getting a tie, you know, you get a tie. But right now, I mean, just absolutely incredible pressure here from this Naiad. Yeah, Batter is going to see a second chair here. No other survivors on the team have Tide Turners, so a little bit unfortunate there in terms of wasting time. Yeah, with no kind of harassment to come through. Batter has already used up all of his resources. But we are going to see 2 Cyphers remaining here. First officer is back up. They can turn this around if they continue to push, you know, kind of similarly to what we saw before. But Lawyer coming in possibly for the rescue is keeping his distance here. But it does look like they may be selling Batter. Now, it's not, you know, they are in a position where they can do that here. It's, you know, not very safe to rescue, as has been, you know, kind of reinforced. But, of course, Lawyer is going to take this chase, and with a beautiful water down, that is going to be... Oh! Oh, no!
seems like
Just
there
a
was
little bit late on the pop there.
a little bit of a miscommunication, it seems, but it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in this situation here, definitely popping the Cypher as soon as possible was needed, but it is, you know, not having Tide Turner here is really, you know, that having Tide Turner here really could have been make or break. Not having Tide Turner, they can definitely still try to push this for a 3-man escape, but it's going to be very, very close if they decide to do that. Yeah, they're not going to be able to wait out detention here. It looks like Dancer making herself known is going to try... I would say we're going to try and draw Naiad's attention away, but that, yeah, blink down is going to go through. First officer was able to go for a backdoor rescue here, but Dancer is now in the chair, and Basement is in the area. I don't think... Yeah. Oh, actually, we are going to push for Basement here. Yeah, it is the aggressive move that Polaris needs. If Dancer struggles free, that would be huge here, but unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. They can... Yeah, we've got 10... No, we've got 30... Yeah, 20-ish seconds left on detention by the time I finish saying that. So they can go for this rescue, but without Tide Turner, Naiad, and Basement, it's very, very, very risky.
As well as the fact that the gate on that side has not been open. We're really seeing a switch to Peepers just to spot out that first officer and hopefully gather a little bit more time.
Chair hit!
They're on the rescue. And,
Yeah, unfortunately, that is going to be first officer down. First officer has also already used self-heal, so he will not be able to pick himself up from inside that basement. We've got female Dancer coming very, very close here with that water. Able to get out of the way of that fall hit, but it's just a hit. Oh my, and barely missing the tram there by a frame.
oh. We'll be seeing
Going
the
to be
gate
a double
opposite
down here.
Unfortunately. The Lawyer is also showing his face for a moment there. He has a pocket watch, but it's, again, it's Basement. It's probably not a great idea to want to rescue from this, especially since it's Naiad. It's a lot of pressure on these survivors right now.
Yeah, they don't really have a choice but to try and go for the rescue right now because it is do or die. It's absolutely do or
Mhm.
die here. But yeah, with just the pressure that Naiad has over the map, I don't know if they're going to be able to make this happen. But yeah, forcing Dancer out like that is going to get her caught in Naiad's hitbox. Lawyer is still in the area, but not being able to heal up here, not being able to kind of reset and regroup. Just Naiad taking advantage of the fact that these survivors are so desperate for that 3-man escape. But yeah, I mean,
Lawyer, yeah.
Lawyer coming in for this once again. Yeah, I mean, there's no choice here. Heading in with the pocket watch here, trying to use the element of surprise, but unfortunately, that is just not going to work out. That is going to be a 4-man elimination here, and activators will be taking the victory. Just
Yippee.
incredible there. Just the pressure that
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Polaris is able to place with that Naiad. But yeah, that is going to be it for day one of LO League. And yeah, with activators on I would say that is a decisive victory. Um, just coming in the end there with that Naiad. And it's not often that you see, a Naiad that is that powerful, but it's reminiscent of kind of the Naiad gameplay that we have been seeing in Koa. We've been seeing, the top team right now, TE, has been utilizing the Naiad. So I don't know, maybe we're on a bit of a Naiad resurgence here in the meta. But yeah, just congratulations as always to both teams for just putting on such an incredible performance here. I mean, yeah, just absolutely incredible matches to watch here. And just, setting the tone for the rest of the tournament. We've got a ton of matches lined up for the weekend here. And let me just double check here. Yeah, tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. EST, 12:30 p.m. PST. So a half hour before afternoon rank ends, we will be back here with PYX versus CNCE. And you can see, yeah, it looks like Mima and
Yeah.
yeah, Mima and Mian are going to be commentating for that. So super excited to see them coming out here. They were in the chat earlier, but yeah, be sure to give them all of the love that you guys gave us today. Um, and yeah, just thank you all so much for coming and thank you all so much for supporting as much as, as much as possible to both teams. But yeah, Bugs, anything you want to say before we close off?
I'm very sad that I didn't get to see my baby boo.
There's always another day for Patient to come out.
There
I
always
would I
is.
would be surprised if we don't see a Patient over the course of this tournament.
He was mentioned, however. He was mentioned.
He
In
was
bans, of
mentioned.
course, but patient mention. We take what we can. I just wanted
All
to
right.
extend my congratulations to both teams. Uh, you guys played expertly. Like that was incredible to watch, and it really was. Uh, it really was a very like how do I put this? Uh, stiff matchup.
Tense.
It was
Tense
really, yeah.
competition.
It was very tense. It was like it's like every round it was just something new that was just placed onto their plates, and it's really I really got to commend them for keeping their heads completely clear. It was amazing.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, congratulations to both teams. Also, a huge thank you to all of the staff who are working so hard to keep this running, keep this together. Um, yeah, and just yeah, everybody who has a part in this, thank you all so much. This tournament could not happen, without everybody working so hard. So yeah, um, I believe that is all from me. You can see me again the next time I am commentating is on Sunday. I'm going to be commentating at 4 p.m. EST, so a couple hours before this started. I will be back, and that will be for Fusion versus Vice Versa. So a very, very exciting match on that front. And Bugs, when's the next time we're going to be able to see you?
You will be able to see me on Saturday. I'm going to be commentating with Trickster, and that will be at uh 2 p.m. PST and 5 p.m. EST. And also, if you'd like to see more of me, Smiles, you can follow my Twitch, Bugsby Bite. Bones, would you like to plug yours?
Oh yeah, I am 206 Bones with two underscores dot twitch.tv, or twitch.tv/ 206 Bones with two underscores. And yeah, you can find me there. You can also find me on YouTube. I think I've commented a couple times in the chat, but yeah, I'll just, is there an appropriate smiley face? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube there. I upload my last streams. I also upload you know, I'm working on uploading some videos. I'll probably have some stuff for Call of the Abyss. But yeah, huge congratulations here to Activators as well as to Sky for putting up a great fight. Such entertaining matches here today. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming and showing your support.